All right, guys. Day 2 of Design League 3.1 playthroughs. We've only got 6 courses today. So we're not going to take up nearly as much time as we did yesterday, but again, excited for a new day of playthroughs. Let's see, who's first? In this style with the follow, appreciate that. In this style is up today as well. But same thing as yesterday, we're going to go in order of the that everybody submitted their courses. So we're starting off today with Crossers7. And again, we talked a little bit about it yesterday, but Design League is supposed to be fun and casual, so we're not doing like some crazy rubric style judging or anything. We're doing a series of playthroughs for all you guys, so we can give you guys feedback on your courses to help you guys maybe see things that you didn't see or help improve your designs going forward, which is why we do kind of the 6-hole prompts. And this one in particular, 3.1, happens to be a 6-hole course on a plot of the contestants' choosing. Judging is primarily based off the plot and the features that the contestant used and the way that they incorporated that into their golf course and the way they routed around it and those types of things. So, yeah, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and jump in and find Crossers course, Crossers7. Which I believe he's another DL3.1. Yep, Crossers7. So same thing, I've just been playing the back tees and pin 2 for all of these with low wind, and then I've been playing with no tempo, just because we're only playing the course the one time. I like to play it kind of the way you guys intended. If I notice some things off course that might impact playability or things like that, I'll try to help you guys out with that as well. Gage, how you doing? Thanks for stopping by. I know you're up today as well, so. Okay. Crossers7, let's check it out. Let's see what we got today. Right, so first things first, we're going to go ahead and fly around the plot. Also, for those of you guys that might be curious, I'm playing all these under ultra settings, just default ultra settings, so I don't have like super far grass rendering turned on or anything. But I do have just the default ultra settings. So looks like we've got kind of a links style course going on here. A little bit of an inlet. Inland lake over here. Oh no, another inlet, okay. Nice, little bay. Well, I like these hills that we've got here. Also, it's not in Highlands, I just noticed. It's in Delta. Which I think works. I don't mind it. So yeah, a lot of rolling land over here. You see the land gets a little bit more aggressive out there in the distance. Then we've got, you know, some coastal stuff going on here. I'm good, Gage. Thanks for asking. So yeah, looking nice. Let's see how we use it. So we're opening up with a 482 yard, so medium to long R4, at least in terms of how the game plays. Got these pots in the fairway, which don't look bad. I like that we can see them off the tee. The windmill is actually kind of a nice touch. I like that you did kind of a custom building there. So yeah, driver's gonna challenge the bunkers here. We can really skirt this bunker to get an angle into the green. We've got more of an open opportunity out here to the right, or we can even lay up short. This is actually playing a little bit like a 11 hole or 11 template in terms of the drive here. It's not really, it doesn't have that semi-blindness to the green that you typically see with 11. But I'm going to play out here to the right. I think that's where I'd be playing if I had tempo on. I like this tee shot, though. I think it's well thought out in terms of strategy. Oh, it looks like we could have carried that back bunker too, so. 9-iron in. Okay. Green shape's interesting. The green shape, so as far as the green shape goes, I do think we could smooth out the surfaces here a little bit. Over here, it makes a little bit of sense that we have this runoff here, so I think that can kind of be justified. I would maybe bring in the green a little bit on the front part here, just to get that shape a little more smoothed out. I think you can justify this moving around the mound there, and I like that mound's there. It's actually kind of an interesting little feature. We've got a little bit of that going on around the green, so yeah. Overall, though, the green slopes makes sense. So take a little bit off. Looking at the planting a little bit, it does feel like we're using a lot of, I think these are the default plants. We take a little bit of a look around here. These lime green, they kind of stick out a little bit. So I don't know that you necessarily needed to keep them. I almost feel as though the planting could have been done using grasses a little bit more, maybe some blown up grasses. Yeah, because I think these are default grasses as well. So maybe turning all that down or off and then coming in and planting them. I know it's a little bit more time consuming to do that, but the look that you get is really nice. We were just looking at this par 3 here, which I think is done a little bit better with the grasses here. The planting's layered a little bit nicer. It is a little busy for here, and it's kind of a big, big juxtaposition from the previous hole where we had very little of that planting going on. Also, these stick out to me a lot. They blend in. Let's see. Might just be because of the render. Yeah, it's just the render distance, because the grasses render at different distances. Just be careful of how close they are to the playing surfaces. I think that might be why they kind of stick out as maybe as if they weren't supposed to be there. But looking at this as a golf hole, I like the look of it. I'd assume that this should probably move. Oh, okay. I was thinking right to left, but we've got kind of a back plateau there, which you can definitely make out from the tee here. I think this is a good length for this type of hole. And then we've got kind of a small apron there to work with as well. Gonna take on the bunker a little bit to get to this pin. Not quite enough. Let's see. Off a pitching wedge. When? Ah. Here we go. Yeah, I think the green. Oh, yeah, forgot we're going on to the next hole. Let's see here. Where's our last hole? Wait, did we just play this hole over here? We just played this hole, didn't we? Yeah. Wait. Do we have a routing error? This is 3. Yeah. I don't know if this was done intentionally. Oh, there's no golf hole here. Okay. Do we have more than 7 holes? Is that what happened if we skipped one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, and we're only using 6 of them. Okay, I see. I see. So I assume this is probably going to be routed into a full 18-hole course at some point. And we skipped one of the holes for the purposes of this. I'd like to see maybe just a 6-hole stretch used instead, like so the routing makes a little more sense. And I kind of like the way that this hole here used the unique land in the back as backdrop, but maybe we'll see more of that as we go through. So I'll let you give it to us that way. Okay, so we've got a broken up. Got a little bit of a broken up par 4 here. So 3-wood drivers never in play because of the downhill. I mean, you'd have to have a hell of a headwind to ever take that on. 3-wood, how far out is that leaving us? Probably be more in this area. 110. We lay up with a 3-iron. We've got about an 8-iron in, which to that pin is never gonna. Well, we've got fairway to work, a little bit of fairway to work with, so you can. I feel like this is really forcing me to hit 3-iron, which is fine. The hole's not very long. And it is making me think a lot on this tee shot. I could probably pull it off, but even with no tempo, I'm sitting there going, I don't know if I can pull off that shot with a 3-wood. And we've got the, I like the green side sitting back here in this little depression here. It is a little bit of a bummer that all the bunkers are blind short of the green, but you can definitely tell that there's trouble short because of everything we're hitting over. I'd argue maybe a little bit of breathing room with these bunkers short would make sense here, because the green size is already pretty small as it is, and then again, because of how close the bunkers are, I think we're running into some issues with the green being a little bit of kind of a rough shape. I think that could get fleshed out just a little bit. Take just a little bit off an 8-iron. Should be close. Oh, there we go. That's all over it. Okay. Yeah, so even with an 8-iron, take a little bit off, you can make that. That's not a bad pin. And we made a putt. Let's go back real quick and take a little peek at that green too. Yeah, because I like, I noticed the fairway has a little bit of the same roughness to its shape. I think just smoothing that out a little bit won't be as jarring to the eye there. And again, so the grasses we're using here, on the par 3 when I talked about them, I think they worked really well. Because they were layered with some bushes and stuff. Obviously, you're not going to plant the bushes right in front of the tees here, but using different types of grasses to create a layered effect is usually pretty good visually as well. So you'd have these green grasses here, and then you mix in. I think I saw it a little bit over here. Yeah, see how these light grasses look mixed in? They look really nice. So I think a little bit more of that, just mixing the grass types in with this. And they don't have to be those yellow ones either. They could be more of a brown, but just something to give you a little bit more texture to that planting. I think something like that goes a long way. Really like this tee shot visually off the tee. However, we have a bit of an issue with these bunkers. I like these bunkers. I don't like them on this hole, and the reason why is if I'm standing on the tee here, I can visually see fairway all the way out to the bunkers there on the right-hand side. So if I'm standing on this tee, it looks like I can hit up that right-hand side safely when there's a sea of pot bunkers up here. And again, I mean, this is that whole, it's a links course, so you can get away with this kind of stuff. But I would argue that maybe these shouldn't be here, or maybe this fairway on the right shouldn't be there. But I do like, I like the look of this off the tee, so I would argue to keep the fairway to the right here, and then extend it all the way up, and then maybe just keep the bunkers on the far right, or maybe even extend the bunkers down into this area, short and right. That way, maybe you can see them off the tee. You probably can't see them. You can maybe even stack them up here, though. Something that gives you a visual cue that, hey, there's bunkers or trouble up here to the right. That helps out. That helps out a lot. So par 5. Strategy-wise, though, this makes sense, right? We have the angle, preferred angle is going to be from the right-hand side here. You definitely don't want to be hitting from the left, so we don't want to be playing out to here. Again, though, so if I look in front of me, I have all this fairway in front of me, and then I can't hit to that area. So I would argue again that you can extend that fairway out to the left there. Having a dog leg where you have a sea of fairway in front of you, but then the hole runs away from you blindly, can be unnecessarily challenging for a golfer. It's very punitive if you don't know the hole already. But overall, I actually quite enjoy this look. I just wish we could either see this or it made more sense from the tee. So we're going to challenge all of this to the right. Yeah, I like the little bit of planting, or the little bit of buildings we have in the back right there. I wish there was a little bit of planting in front of it just to break it up. It might just be because the sun's shining off of it, but it looks very bright and kind of in your face even from back here. So maybe a little bit of planting to break it up a little bit would help. I think this is a really good length for this approach. Again, with the, you'll probably know what I'm going to say. The green shape, I think, is again a little bit rough. I think just smoothing this edge out here, even though you know you have the fall off here on the side, just smooth that out. Let the slopes do all the work over here, and then smooth this out again on this side over here. It's okay to have simple green shapes. They make a lot of sense. You're on a links course as well, so those types of green shapes make a lot of sense here. So I think sticking to that would be good. This green looks like it's going to reject a lot of shots from a long ways out, so I'm interested to see how this goes. Obviously, I can probably hit a big cut with a 3-wood into this green. I don't think I'm going to try that just because I think that's a little too easy on no tempo. So we're going to try to hit just kind of a slight fade into here and use the wind to help us bring it into this pin. Or slight draw. I think I said fade. Okay. Yep. So we cooked it a little too much. Got a bad bounce. And that's okay. This is probably not the side I want to be on because of that runoff on the back. But for this pin, I think we can get this to stop. We're going to go with a splash because it's cheating. Ooh, too much. Nice. That's one of those things where it's like, I deserved that. I missed to the wrong side of this green. That to stop. Okay. Not an easy putt for par either. Ooh, just barely. Okay. That was a good hole design. There was a few things with the blindness, though, that I would maybe address going forward, but overall I liked that. Okay. So par 3 downhill, 7 iron. This green shape makes a lot of sense for the length of the hole here. I'll mention again, the green shape I think is better here, but again, could be smoothed out just a little bit. And I didn't mention it before, but the pots being directly in fairway, I'm guessing you splined them because they don't have the little collars of rough around them, the awkward collars of rough. I think these would honestly look better, though, if you just gave them a little bit of space and used light rough around them. You can change your light rough texture. I see you've obviously used light rough over here. You could use this same texture around the pot bunkers, and they still play pretty well. The ball rolls into them nicely, and you can crank up your light rough bounce and roll, so the balls that come up right on the collar will still roll into the bunker. So I would maybe consider doing that. They visually look really nice because you have that dark band around them, or if you could use the dried out band too. It looks really nice. It gives it kind of a revetted face look, but that gives the player more of a visual cue that, hey, there's trouble here. Obviously, like here, I can see the sand on this one, so it's not a big deal, but it's just a thought. Planting is encroaching a little bit on the playing surfaces again here, and then what I was going to mention with this is this doesn't feel like a really linksy. It doesn't feel like a really linksy hole, being like right on the water, kind of a peninsula green. So it feels a little out of place with the rest of the course. But that being said, I don't hate the hole, having trouble long and kind of favoring more of a little bit of a run-in shot, even though being downhill, it's going to be a little more challenging to pull that off. Let's see if we can get the wind to stop this for us. Ooh, that's close. I think this pin is a little... I'm not opposed to the pin being on on a yellow slope. This isn't even a yellow slope. This is just like a lime green slope. It's just that this pin is on the only slope on this part of the green, so it looks like it shouldn't really be here. It feels like it should be maybe a touch further back, or that this should be smoothed out a little bit. I wouldn't put a pin up here, so please don't do that. that would be a very bad pin position in my opinion, having it like crowned like that. But a pin up front here so you can have a backstop, or a pin maybe back in this area so you can roll and use that slope a little bit, I think would make a little bit more sense than where the pin is now. I'm glad we made that yanking that as far left as we did. Okay, and hole 6. Right. I think you can kind of make out this bunker here, but this is one of those ones where if we had the light rough collar around it and then maybe popped the bunker up a little bit, it would visually look, because I see you lowered the front area of the bunker down, which is good. That's a good place to be. But I think taking that big fuzzy flatten brush and just knocking down this area right here would make it a little bit more easier to see from the tee. And I see what we're doing. We can just blast a ball over that bunker, but visually it gives you kind of an aiming point. And I'm not sure if that was intentional or not, but if it was, good job. It gives you kind of an aiming point to go over this if that's where you're going to take 3-wood. And then driver is the big fade down into the green there, which is very interesting. As a pseudo, I assume this is drivable in most conditions. That's actually pretty neat. That's a lot of fun. I don't know if I'd ever take that on, but I like that option, or I like that as an option, especially with all the water being on the right. Again, it doesn't feel super linksy, but as a whole design, I actually like it quite a bit there. I think we're gonna go ahead and take on 3-wood. nicely for us. We get a nice little angle. Although this is a little bit challenging with this green slope here. There's almost a play here as well to lay up far back and to the right and challenge the water a little bit just to take this on here. I know, Terps, I'm on no tempo too, but I figured I wouldn't ever try that shot, so I want to play it more as it's intended. How you doing, man? All right, bring that in. And then the green sloping towards the water. Again, that makes a lot of sense. This is a little bit more slopey than what we've seen so far, but you know, it's not bad in terms of how it plays. I think it makes a lot of sense. Again, we're on the 6th hole, so before I finish this putt up, just, you know, how I would use the rest of the land. I wouldn't play right down towards the water, you know. Again, I don't know if this was intended to be links golf, but it definitely feels very linksy. So I would stay away from playing like directly on the water, but I would continue to play along the coast. I think you've got a lot of good land here. The beach is kind of neat. If you do use it, I'd suggest flattening it out a little bit, but obviously you're not using it now, so that's not going to be really considered in what we're talking about. But yeah, playing along these cliff sides up here, out into this area, maybe even along that bay over there. I am a little... We have one more golf hole here, right? Yeah, that hasn't been used yet. I am a little confused why we didn't incorporate the hole with the interesting cliffs in it. I felt like we never really saw that. We always played into the same direction coming back out here, and we never really saw those cliffs again. But it's obviously incorporated into your routing in the future. So yeah, I would definitely do more of that. But yeah, overall, a nice job. I think the hole designs were pretty solid. We talked a little bit about surfacing and planting, so I think those things could be polished up a little bit. But overall, I think that's a solid course. Well done. And thanks for submitting, Crossers. I appreciate that. So that was Crossers7 Design League 3.1 course. Now we're gonna move on to terpshoops, who's in chat with us here. Oops. THDL. terpshoops Design League 3.1. Got one tee, making it real easy for us. We're gonna play on blue, pin 2. And we're gonna play on just light default winds, as we have been. And let's take a look. All right, Terps, let's see what we got. I see willows. Good thing Charlie's overwatching Wayne, because he'd be so triggered right now. All right. Ooh, very interesting. Okay. Lots of very rugged sand. We're obviously on Delta. This river basin is pretty neat here. We are on a coastal plot, but we're not using the coast, which is neat. Yeah, we're not even using the ocean, which is pretty cool too. Some very interesting cliff sides. Then we've got this kind of central mountain, hills, rocky feature. Didn't do much planting, and it's all willows. All right, well, let's see how it looks. The sun is very low in the sky. Looks like we're We're either chasing the sun in the morning or seeing how if we can get around in before it goes down. Okay. Let's see how we used the plot. Okay, the willows. I actually kind of like the look of these willows here. It's very unique. I'd say some grasses maybe mixed in with them would make a lot of sense. I like the way that it changes the ground. We all know how that works. The yellow willows, I think, might be a bit much. They're very bright. I'd say maybe like 1 or 2 of them mixed in, and again with the grasses would make a lot of sense. Like, I think this is a little less egregious over here. But overall, a nice look off the first tee here. We can see all the bunkers are faced nicely. And I think the sculpting is pretty decent on them. Yeah, mind that. And the bunker shapes, I think they make sense here. I kind of like the way those two stack up on the left there. Hashtag save the willows. Oh, don't you worry. They'll be saved. All right. So we're just kind of pinching the drive here. I think playing to the left seems to make a lot of sense because we don't really have an angle, I think, in any way to the green. We get a little bit of a backstop to the right, though. So it's kind of an either or. Are you going to try to play a shorter shot, or are you going to play the longer shot with a little bit better of an angle? I don't think it makes much of a difference, though, so we're going to challenge the left side. Even with the water there, I don't think it's going to make much of a difference. Got a little bit of a carry over water. Got some bunkers backing the green there, which is nice. They kind of mark the green off for us. So I think that makes sense. See if we can drop this in close. Oh, that was close. All right. I wish there was a little bit more going on with the hole design in terms of making us think about sort of what side of the fairway do we want to play to. I don't think it makes much of a difference because we're not allotted a ton of width, but maybe something going on with the green could help that. Maybe a bunker in the front here. I know we brought the water in a little bit, but because we've got this big runoff here, which we'll talk about in a second, I don't think it makes a ton of difference either way, just because of the way that the hole kind of dog legs. I'd rather just take the shorter shot over the water, to be honest. The runoff here on the left-hand side, just coming straight into the rough. I mean, a big runoff like that into rough, I'm not a big fan of. I feel like this should maybe have a fairway collar short here, or maybe even the runoff should be over on the right-hand side instead. And then the last thing with the green is the green feels a little bit crowded by the bunkers. I think they look nice from the fairway that we looked at, but I think backing them off just a little bit so we can smooth out this green shape a little bit would make a lot of sense here. I do like that it looks like a little goldfish cracker, though. Q rant about runoffs into rough. Yeah, I'm not as big of a stickler about that. I don't think you should do it if I'm if I'm doing it again, like, but little things like that here in the back, I'm not gonna really make a big fuss about those. I'd prefer not to see it, and this is really just a symptom of the bunker being so close to the green. But yeah, exactly. And even still, you can have the green kind of crowned, and you can have green slopes coming off to sort of drain the green in any case. And also, we don't have to worry about drainage, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, but there we go. We got our birdie, though. Hole 2. So these... are these all faced the same way? I think they are. I'm not sure if you rotated them or not, but they look like they're all facing the same direction over here. I don't know why that just caught my eye. I think it's because we're designed to you know, find patterns and things. Again, I think just another type of foliage to. I like the look of the willows. I know some people are in chat are probably just screaming at their monitor right now, but I like the look of the willows. I think just breaking it up with some trees and other bushes would work. I also know it's probably a joke, but it's. I mean, I honestly think it. I think it could work. So we've got a lot of space to work with here. We have a more simple green shape here. I'd say, you know, just smoothing out this a little bit would help it visually, but because I don't know, it doesn't feel like we have like much of a mound there that's really affecting this shape here, so this just feels like it could kind of all fit in with each other there. But we have a clear angle the right hand side, which is where the water is. I like the width that we're kind of afforded on this tee shot, and this diagonal ridge is actually kind of a neat feature. Well, I guess I'm never gonna play with 3-wood, but as a carry, it's kind of an interesting idea there. But we do have this swale to worry about, which is a neat little feature. I like that. That's a kind of one of those gray area hazards where it's like, I don't want to be down there, but it's not the end of the world if I'm down there. I'm not just dead if I'm down there, which is I like those types of hazards when you play with camber and little runoffs like that. I see another one behind it too. It kind of acts. It is a little bit. It's kind of abrupt. It feels like we don't have a lot of sculpting going on with the fairway, but then it ends up kind of just aggressively going down and then being more rugged. A fairway it's. Yeah. But I do like it. Hopefully, we'll just barely play into it, so we'll have a little bit of a downhill lie here. I don't know that the fairway needed to be cut all the way out to the left there. Like, I don't see a world where anybody's going to be hitting to that. So I'd argue that it probably doesn't need to be there. Doesn't need to be cut there. And also our layup, we don't really have a layup option. Like, if I missed to the fairway on that shot, and granted, I mean, you gave us a ton of space back there. I feel like our layup's just a 9-iron to here. So maybe affording a little bit more of a collar or an apron out here. I don't know. I think it's okay. I think you could probably justify doing it. Doing the massive carry. It plays kind of like a great hazard. Yeah, I think I'm on the fence about it. I think I could be swayed. I definitely don't have a club for this, though. I like the way that we get to play this slope, and the green slope makes a lot of sense breaking towards the water like that, which is good. Boink. Wind's gonna pull it a little bit. But quite enough on that. It's okay. I'm gonna turn this up just a little bit. Let's see. See if we can make a putt. It's gonna be close. Slow down, ball. Take that. So now we've got a little bit more of the mounding going on here. It does feel a little like maybe it's just a touch too tall in terms of like, I don't know, it just feels very kind of pointy and less jagged. And maybe that's the intentions? I don't know if it's working for me though. I think it's kind of the uniformity of all of it. Just that they all feel very sort of similar and the same height. So I think just having some variance in that, maybe bringing it up in the middle here to kind of make it naturally also mound up in itself. Because like to the left, it feels a little bit more natural. Oh, it's behind chat here. Okay, so behind here, this feels a little bit more natural, if that makes sense. Whereas on the right-hand side there, that just feels a lot like it's a lot of the uniform mounds over there. All right, par 3. This bunker feels out of place. It feels like we've suddenly shifted bunker styles. Like the last hole was bunkerless, right? We didn't have bunkers. The first hole, we didn't have any of those, you know, like U or V-shaped bunkers, right? We just had the circular bunkers. So we didn't have any fingers on them. And then now we have a bunker with a finger on it. I'd say just get rid of the finger and stick to the bunker style that we had, the little bit more natural style. I think it would look just fine. This feels a bit kind of Parkland. And then the green shape here, I think this could just be smoothed out. But I like that you've afforded a lot of space to us here. I appreciate that, given the length of the hole. Also, the fairway here is just kind of, or the green here, we have a bit of a runoff that's just dumping us into the light rough / bunker. I'd argue that, you know, that probably doesn't need to be there. Let's see. And that's honestly probably just from the bunker kind of encroaching on the green. Again, just giving yourself like a couple yards. You know, they still, visually, they look great. I think they look better, honestly, that way. And then they, playability-wise, they play very similar. It's kind of nice having that, you know, little bit of a mound between the bunker and the green where you can just barely skirt a ball between the two and like dump it into the rough and let it die before it goes onto the green. I like that from a playability standpoint, especially if you have like a front pin on this green. I think it would make a lot of sense. Got a drivable 4. Okay, with a lot of slope taking us down to that back area. And then, yeah, the bunker style doesn't feel like it's cohesive. Again, we have the one here with the finger on it. I'd say you could probably just break this up into 2 bunkers. You know, maybe having one here and then one sitting right behind it, kind of like what we did here. And then this back here, I would just get rid of that sort of visual finger. And then this one, you can't really see it, so I don't think it needs to be there either. To be honest though, this is it's so heavily bunkered that I don't see why I wouldn't take on the green every single time. I feel like if you opened up this right-hand side and really allowed a 3-wood to be played into it, so you open up all of this down into here and allot some width, let people play into that shot, because now they have a shot over this bunker and the green's sloping left to right. They don't get the advantage of being able to play down that slope here. They have to play across it. So if you open up this right-hand side, you know, and give us all the width in the world, let us play into that shot, because that's not an easy shot to have to make over that bunker, especially for this, like this pin. Give that to me. I'm probably still taking on the green because I feel like there's not much trouble. Even, you know, I'm probably going to carry to the green and roll all the way back off the back of the green and down into here. I don't think that the water's really going to affect that shot, though. We'll see, though. I'm sure I'll say that and then just blast one back into the water. But we're going to... And here, I'll further explain why, because I'm sure people are saying, well, the pin's up here. Why would you go for that? I don't want to play from anywhere with this slope behind my pin. So if I blast it all the way down, and even if this is a putt up, that's fine. I'll deal with that. But the hope is to be off the back of the green, so I can have a splash or a pitch back up with the green sloping towards me, so I can stop the shot. I think that's the easiest play here, and I think that's really the only play. This might cut too much. Oh, this might cut too much. That cut too much. Okay. But even still, fairly straightforward bunker shot. We're just playing along the side of the slope now. We've taken it out of play. I'm surprised that didn't carry longer given how far downhill it was, but that's not, you know, that's not an issue with your course. That's just kind of a weird thing with the game. All right, hole 5. Ooh, I can hear Maddie having a panic attack from from wherever he is in Canada right now. We are physically below this water, and we have a completely blind tee shot up to the water. So it doesn't make a ton of sense for that water to be there specifically. Like, golf courses use retention ponds all the time on higher land to help irrigate the courses, right? It's pretty common. I think you can make that argument that you know, you can have water above you, but when you have a blind tee shot like this up to an area like that, and the hazard is water, that's very punitive. And yes, we have scout cam and all those things, and this is uphill. You probably wouldn't try to carry this, but if you know it's up there, like, I don't think the water being this close to this hazard or to this carry makes a whole lot of sense, if I'm being honest. I don't think I can carry this bunker, so I think for me the play's out here to the left. And here's another thing too, as I'm looking at this. You've given us a preferred angle from the left here, right? Because from the right, well, even still, it's not really impeding, but I can play out here from the left a lot safer because I don't have the water in play at all. And that's the safe side of the fairway to drive to, right? There's no hazards out there to the left. And we actually have some helping, a little bit of helping. We'd probably still easily run through if we miss, but I'd honestly rather play from here. Well, I guess it'd be more from back here. I'd rather play from back here than play from up here, especially when the miss on the tee shot is bounding into a lake. So I don't see a reason to ever make that carry. Even with how short that shot is, I just want to play to the outside of the bunkers here. It's just so much safer of a shot. And then the lake is, I mean, the lake's completely out of play. And honestly, it's mostly out of play anyway. And then again, the green shapes I think can just be smoothed out. There's a little bit of a mound up front, so, but it's not really enough to sort of justify the green shape being that way. If there was a bunker tucked in there, you know, I would say it makes sense. But the back, I don't think it needs it. Close. Here we go. I think overall the green slopes make sense. They do, again, feel like they're favoring a shot, though, to the left off the tee, especially like this back stop here. You're hitting a longer shot into, let's say there's a pin down here, which I assume there is somewhere in that area. Now you have this big backstop from that left-hand side too, so it's really just favoring you to hit out to there and then play, you know, a medium iron in, which is, again, a pretty simple shot. Yeah, you'd have a wedge, but I mean, a 7-iron to me is not really much of a difference when you compare like what I have to. When you look at what I have to traverse on the tee shot to the right here versus the left, I don't care if I have a wedge in at that point. I'm just going to play out to the left. It's just, there's way too much going on. And you mentioned maybe you need to lose the water. If it were me, I would bunker this up on the right-hand side. You already have bunkers marking that there's bunkers over here. So even if these are partially blind, I don't think it's an issue. I would just spot this all full of bunkers up here, and then I would open this up to play into. If there was water coming in from over here for whatever reason, I don't think it would be as much of an issue. So in this case, I would honestly lose the water completely, and then just allow this area here to be played into, and then I would bunker the front of the green instead. And honestly, I would probably bunker the left side of the green, because if I'm playing out to here, this should be my more challenging shot now, right? And even though it's a longer shot, I think a couple bunkers here, you know, kind of short left, would make a lot of sense. And then maybe you could even have this whole front area play up or sit up a little bit higher as a plateau. That way you can have a little bit of an angle. You can create a little bit more of an angle from the right than from the left, where the left side might actually run you back down onto the green and you're playing like away from the slope that you're given. So there's some things you can do to kind of play with that, but that's just one of those. If it were, you know, if it were me, that's those are the changes that I would make. Again, I like this look. I know there's some people that are like, Pat, what are you talking about? I don't mind it. I just think filling it in with some grasses, and in this case probably some of the kind of drier grasses, I think it'd look really nice, to be honest. And it'd be a unique look that I feel like we haven't seen, or at least I haven't seen. So we're finishing off with a long par 3. And you've given us a lot of space to work with, a lot of ground game. I'd argue that this doesn't need to be as downhill as it is. It's only 16 feet, but even still, if this played a little bit flatter, I think the ground game the ball is going to roll out a little bit further, right? If it's downhill or even uphill. This shouldn't be uphill, please don't do that. But it makes sense that you're playing down towards the water, so I get that. I think playability-wise, when you have a strong ground game par 3, I think they play better as a flatter hole. Green slopes make a lot of sense. They're moving towards the water here. Again, I've talked about it in almost every playthrough, but the green shapes just feel like they could be smoothed out a little bit, and this could be more of a triangle. And when I say that, the reason why I mention things like that is if a ball comes down from wherever here short of the green and rolls down and stops right here, and we have a pin down here somewhere, I doubt we do, but it might be back here, but let's say there's a pin here, then you have this chip over the green, because there's not really, you might be able to catch the slope out here and kind of run it in, but you know, even in the back here, right to this pin that we're playing to, if I catch this slope here and run it all the way down, might not be a putt there, right, to go over the green. So I'm not a huge fan of having the green kind of cut in. And also, it's just like, from a realistic standpoint, it's just easier to mow a round green, right? So if there's nothing impeding the shape of the green, then they're just going to mow it so it's a little bit more rounded out. And I also, one more thing off the tee here. I like the look. We can see the water in the background there, and I like the way that it's kind of the green is just kind of sitting blindly out there. I think some carry bunkers, real short here, right? They're never really going to come into play unless you have a big headwind. I think they would look nice. They would just kind of sit nicely out here. If you look at a hole like, I'm probably going to get it wrong. It's the Biarritz at, of course it's the Biarritz. It's the Biarritz at Stream Song red? No, blue. It's the Corin Crenshaw one. The Biarritz there. It's a long hole, and there's carry bunkers sitting right at the edge of the lake there. And they don't really ever come into play, but they're a nice visual there, and the green sits nicely behind it. I think that would look nice on a hole like this. Anyway, I'll stop talking and start playing. Ooh, I was hoping the wind would... okay, we're getting a little bit more. That's actually probably bad. I was hoping the wind would take it a little bit more than that. That's a tough one to... That's a little tough to stop a ball on. Actually didn't look... Yeah, we're on 156 speeds. I really like greens that are around this speed, the like high 150s, low 160s. I know I've published a lot of my courses at 151. I think those greens are can be a little bit tough. But I like those little bit slower greens. Oh, and I didn't fly around, but I did see the plot. So I think you mentioned that you were planning to... Oh, if you do extend it to 18. Yeah, and if I were to extend it to 18, I think as far as like the plot and the routing goes, I think you used them pretty well, playing down to the water a little bit there. And then playing through those mounds, or kind of that rocky area. I think you utilized those areas well. So I would definitely just do more of that. And if you have the space for it, playing around that mountain in the middle, or kind of creating a U-shaped routing around it, I think getting more views of that in would be nice as well. But overall, I think as far as like the plot goes, there was a lot of interesting features there, and I think we used a lot of them. We saw a lot of parts of the plot, including like the water and things like that. So yeah, I think that was well done. I mentioned the lighting was very bright in the beginning. I appreciate... I don't remember ever playing directly into it except for one putt that I had, which that's just going to happen. So thank you for not making us play into that brutal light. I think it actually made everything work, and there wasn't a whole lot of shadows to worry about because of the fact that there wasn't any trees. So this is a case where I would defend that lighting and say that it worked, and I think it looked nice. I'm usually a stickler about really dramatic lighting like that, and I think it's overused in the game, but I think in this case, I think it was used well, and I think you did a good job with that. So yeah, and no problem, Terps. I appreciate you stopping by and participating in this edition of Design League. Your participation trophy should be in the mail shortly, so keep an eye out for that. I'm just kidding. All right, in this style, you're up. You're another DL3.1. Go. Go. There you are. How you doing? Wind speed low. I assume you want blue tees. Everyone, I've just been playing the back tees, so. All right, cool. Right, let's take a little looky look. All right, so we're in Boreal. Yeah. with the low lighting. And we've got a lake here. Oh, this is a nice look for this lake, actually. Yeah, that's really neat with the... It's subtle, but I think it works well. Ooh, there's a waterfall. We'll save that for later. Ooh, and some nice rock work. Wow, okay. I kind of like this. This is, you know, it's very... It's one of those... This is an example that you don't have to go, like, crazy to make something that works or looks nice, or it can be interesting. You know, this is just a river with a lake. But it looks like we've got some interesting features that we're kind of working on there. And yeah, we've got a little bit of land movement as well to work with, which is good. You know, we've got the hills in the background that we've sculpted up there. And it's cool because if you come down here, you can see the way that this layers the horizon. We've got these foreground mounds here. We've got the tree line here, and then another tree line in the background, and then the far tree line. And with the fog and everything, that is a really neat effect. Wow, look at these two. These are a nice little touch. I don't know that anyone will ever see them, but I'm not upset that they're there. The planting makes sense. We've got the grasses with the bushes and then the trees, so it's layered. I'd say you could probably bring it out a little bit more or push it back, depending on how you look at it, but bringing the grasses out a little bit further. And then maybe blending a highlight grass in here, like some sort of yellowed grass. I understand it's Design League. There's probably not a lot of time that's allocated to these. I think your planting looks good as it is, but if you wanted to, you could probably have it layer a little bit more spread out as it kind of goes up into the trees. But this is a nice look. The sun's a bit bright on the first tee here with the reflection off the water and everything. I appreciate that it's not directly in front of us though. So that's a nice touch. And then, oh, what is this? We have a pond. Okay, I'm gonna say the same thing I said about the last one. Ponds above playing surfaces. Again, Maddie's just screaming somewhere and he doesn't know why he's screaming. Ponds that sit above playing surfaces, they look kind of out of place. And again, I get you can have those types of things, they exist in real life, but I don't think there needed to be a pond here. I think with the rock wall there, you could have just left it the way it is and maybe used this kind of, if you wanted to incorporate this planting, because I think the planting looks really nice. If you wanted to incorporate that, maybe use it for a par 3 or something up ahead. I don't think that needed to be there. If we look at the green, we're favoring, you know, that right-hand side, right? So the water is what we're challenging on the tee shot. I don't think there needed to be a lake out here or a pond out here for really any reason. We're pinching the drive a little bit with the bunker being out here, but I don't mind it. I wish it was a little more visible from the tee, but overall, the sculpting actually looks nice. It could be, I think it could be smoothed out just a little bit. If you take, you know how when you take the flatten brush and you just click on a bunker and it just drops it down, I think if you hit just this spot right here with it, that would help make this feel a little bit more smoothed out. But overall, the way these lips sit here look pretty nice. I'd say that maybe this section down here could be smoothed out a little bit, but in terms of like just the shape of the bunker. But I'm really nitpicking things if I'm, you know, looking for stuff right now, except for the pond. The pond I'm not nitpicking. I just don't like the pond. I like that we've got a carry over the water here. We've got a diagonal carry, so it's how much do we want to chew off to get that angle into the green. I think it makes a lot of sense, you know, and I think you're making a strong statement with this opening hole. I'm gonna bite off a lot, obviously, because I'm no tempo, so unless I pull the shit out of it or push the shit out of it, we should be fine. For this pin, I didn't really have to consider the angle a whole lot, but the farther left I go, the more that this slope here is going to push me off the green. And then we talked before about green runoffs. This I think is a well done one. We've got a good space down here to collect balls, so I think in terms of, you know, the way it's moving, it makes a lot of sense. I would argue that this whole section of the green here could be brought down just a touch, because we do have some slopes, some beads that are moving right to left, which is away from the water. I think, you know, with this little crest here, I think that makes sense, but like right along here, these little beads that are just moving right to left, I think they should maybe be moving left to right instead. And this mound I actually kind of like having here, because you can use it to funnel a ball a little bit around the bunker there, because we've got a relatively short shot, but you know, a pin back here could be a little challenging. So, but overall, I think the green slopes here make a lot of sense. And then as far as our pins go, I assume we have 1, 2, 3, 4. I think makes a lot of sense. This one, I hope it's not tucked too much. I think a pin back here would be a good spot. But and then the bunker, it's a little rough on the sculpting. I don't know if it's from the bunker not being painted all the way in. I like that we can see it, but this spot right here. So when I'm doing bunkers, for instance, I typically look at them from the fairway and not from like the aerial or something like that. So when I'm looking at this bunker here, we have this nice finger that comes down, but this feels like it should be just kind of a round shape that's popping up above it from behind. And then the sculpting's a little aggressive. I think it could be just fleshed out a little bit, a little smoothed out. And then the shape here in the front, I think, could be just brought out to make a little bit more wider. At least like kind of in this area here, just kind of round it out a little bit. That way we can see a little bit more of the bunker. But this is good. The whole design, I think, is well thought out, and I think it makes a lot of sense. I like the little bit of planting we had in the background there. We've got the little island here. Let's do... Yeah, there's the planting we have with the little boathouse in the back. Yeah, that's nice. We made a putt. Oh, that was a par 5. Okay, that changes a lot of things. I think that played like a par 4 to me. I don't know if that was... How long was that hole? We only had like 7 or 8 iron into that. Oh, it was supposed to be a 4. Uh-oh. Someone pulled a Tanner. So yeah, it's showing up on the scorecard as a par 5. So that's one of those things. I have a publish checklist at the end. When I go to publish things, that I just check all the pars before I publish, because weird things happen, and sometimes the game just, you end up with a par 5 when it was supposed to be a 4. It happens. It happens in contests all the time. Usually it's Tanner. Okay. So got a nice little carryover water. I like the rock work in the back. Let's see. Oh, Jamie did it once too. That's funny. Yeah, I like the rock work in the back. I kind of wish the rock work came around a little bit more. Oh, Lost Preserve had one. Wow. I kind of wish the rock came behind the green a little bit, and then the trees were broken up a little bit, so we had a little bit more of a visual. But honestly, I mean, oh, and here comes the light, and it looks really good. Okay, yeah, that looks really good. The only thing I'd say is I feel like this little pavilion and gazebo, all of this could get pushed out to the right a little bit. So maybe it sits back here on this peninsula a little bit, and then maybe the bridge comes just off camera here and goes out to it, so we get a little bit more of the view of the side of the bridge. It feels like we're playing, you know, it's kind of has that putt-putt look where it's like we have to putt across the bridge to like the gazebo green. So I think pushing that to the right there. This bunker from the tee though, it looks really good. It sits really nicely, like the way that it looks there. I think when we get up close to it, the sculpting feels a little bit rough, and I think that's just because these fingers could probably be smoothed out just a touch. But the way that this sits here, that's really good. I think that looks phenomenal. And then we've got the bunker over here to the left too, which we can see as well. This is a really good looking par 3, if I'm being honest. I think it looks fantastic. And then it's behind chat here, but we have a little bit of space over here that I feel like could be planted or maybe just dropped into the water so we don't have to worry about planting it. But this one dead pine is just sticking out to me right now. I'm giving you a lot of things because I think that there's a lot to kind of like about this. So I also got a good night's sleep last night, whereas I didn't the night before. So I'm chocked full of ideas today. It's gonna be pretty close. That's good. Okay. And we didn't really look at the green from the tee a whole lot, but I like the way that we have this spine that's kind of splitting the green into 2 halves. It allows you to play up away from the bunker a little bit and run it down, which I think is fun. I think it's it might be a little bit much. I think it could maybe come down just a touch because like over here on the left side, we have this big run down. And then I assume there's probably a pin back here. I don't know why you would have this as green if there's not a pin. 3, 4, yeah, I assume there's a pin back there. So I'd say you could probably smooth out this runoff here. Because think about if you miss to the right here, I don't think there's a way to even keep it on the green if you have to putt over this and then back down the other side. If I'm coming the other way, I could probably get away with it. But it doesn't have to be red to be, you know... It doesn't have to be red to be fun. But I think playability-wise, I think it makes a lot of sense from the tee. I just think if you missed over that hill, I think you'd run into some playability issues with being able to keep it on the green. Again, a really, like, at first glance off the tee, I think this looks really nice. The way the sun's kind of lighting everything up. Obviously, we're getting, like, God lighting on everything. But challenging 3-wood. This is the par 5. Okay. Okay, so I have a few notes for this tee shot. The bunker, I think this bunker's really good on the right here. I feel like the fairway should maybe be splined like right here so we can really challenge this, because even if we challenge it, we're barely getting a peek at this green, right? So, or move the bunker from right to left, so the fairway feels like it's just kind of jogging around it. Because this appendage back here feels like it's like kind of lost back there. It feels like it maybe doesn't need to be there, which is why I immediately thought, okay, fairway here makes sense. This bunker here, if I'm being honest, I don't know that it needs to be there at all. You know, like look at the view we get if we challenge that. This is like perfect. We can hit just a little fade into that green. Hopefully we have the length to do that. And then from out here, we're playing much further away. I don't even know if we can make it. Let's actually look before I make a comment. Yeah, so we're 250 out here. We can probably sneak a 3-wood up there. But if I'm playing out here to the left, right, if I'm in this bunker, I'm not even probably carrying these bunkers up here. So I would argue that this bunker doesn't need to be here, or that if you do keep that bunker, actually, I wouldn't keep it because the trees would block it out anyway. I would just fairway all this out here. Like, give people a safe play out to the left there. Because the further left they are, the farther away they are, and they're probably not making that green anyway. You know? I love the way that green sits back there, too. Everything, like the way the sun's just shining on it. I know you probably cleared out some trees. I see a little path there. But it looks really nice. So I would say, yeah, I wouldn't even keep that bunker there. And I would definitely keep this bunker. I like this bunker a lot up there. Because you can see it, like, you can see it from the tee here. It sits up there nicely. It kind of stacks above this bunker. So honestly, like, either bringing this bunker over or just kind of cutting the fairway there a little bit better. And then drop this planting down just a touch. Because the planting here is blocking our view of the fairway. So just dropping that down a touch, I think, would make a big difference. This is good, though. There's a lot to... I think there's a lot to like about, especially the visuals here. Okay, so we actually only have 3 iron here. Then... yeah, it's a shame that this bunker here is blocking the view of the bunkers back there. I don't know if there's a way that this can really come down at all. I don't really think there would be. But that's probably just from where I'm at. But be mindful of those kind of things. These bunkers also feel really small compared to a lot of the other bunkers on the course. And then I'd also say you could probably bring bunkers up into here as well. They don't need to be like right on the playing surfaces because we don't like that, right? But maybe extending this bunker up into this area a little bit. You know, the fingers don't always have to be like this finger here. You don't always have to have fingers, and fingers don't always have to be like pointing directly towards the player. They can come in, they can sneak in from the side. So you could always bring the bunker up this way. Almost take this bunker shape and rotate it like counterclockwise 90 degrees. So you have the finger kind of extending out this way, and then the bunker sits up around that way. The green shape, again, I just think could be fleshed out a little bit. Just smooth these guys out. It's when you have these shapes that kind of poke into the greens that they don't make a lot of sense to me. You know, just cut it like normal. I know we have kind of a mound here, but even just kind of smoothing that out a little bit. This does feel like it's fighting the land a little bit, if I'm being honest. Like this depression back here, it feels like the land almost... I mean, the land is obviously higher up here, but we also have higher land up here, so this feels like it should sit down in a bowl a little bit. So this might be a bit much. Playability-wise, I think it makes a lot of sense, though. Like, you want to play down... If you're playing down to this back right pin, you know, you get to avoid the bunkers a little bit more, and you can play through there. And then, if you want to play up to here, this is a more challenging pin, but you're not challenging the bunkers as much. So, I think it makes a lot of sense. And you can even play further out left because you have more space out here that'll kick you that way. Hey, Nick. I am enjoying my playthroughs, actually. We're playing InThisStyle's course right now. It's actually quite good. Actually quite good, as if I'm, like, so surprised. I just don't know a lot of you guys, so I you know, I don't know what to expect. I don't know if I'm going to be able to carry this. I actually don't think I am. This is a really tough pin. Yeah, I don't know how I get to that. I don't think I do. We're going to try it. Play a little bit to the left, because even if I'm back behind it, I'm okay. Also, this runoff here, I think this should be smoothed out a little bit. It just, this is kind of dumping y'all off into the rough here. Again, I know green runoff into rough rant coming, but like, let's see more of these runoffs here where we're getting run back down the fairway rather than having these little ones here that are dumping you off. You know, a little bit of it on the fringe, I don't mind seeing. Like, if it was just this little bit here, I think you can maybe get away with it, but once it really starts impeding the green, I think it's harder. These are also 187s. Okay, slower, those reds will be less severe. Okay, yeah. And while I sat there talking, the wind speeds died down, so... Oh, this is going to be good. So it's going to die in that slope? Yeah, okay, that worked out. This does get really dark too when the sun goes behind the clouds. So I'd almost argue to just get rid of clouds, because we have so much of the like tall trees and everything kind of breaking up the sky anyway, that you don't have to rely on the look of the clouds up there as we get to an open hole with a very clear view of the sky. But I mean, you get what I'm saying. Turn those high clouds on, and then just turn off the low clouds. That way we don't get the sun going behind them. Or maybe even just turn them down so it's not happening as much. Okay. Well, it's a shame we don't get to see these waterfalls from the view of the hole. That's okay. I think they need to be there. So right off the bat, the land here is kind of blocking this bunker. I think just a little bit. I mean, like 2 feet of land coming down in front of the bunker. It's actually, I think, this ridge here, right here, between 3-wood and driver. If this came down just a little bit, you'd get a little bit better look at the bunker. We're doing a lion's mouth. Where am I playing? Shot. I do get a shot there. Don't get a I kind of get a shot there, but I've got the bunker in play. Okay, so I see exactly what we're doing. We're taking the... Okay, we have a bunker here in the middle. You want to be either left or right of it to get an angle in here. However, I'd argue that this bunker doesn't even need to be here at all. And the reason why is to get these angles to either of these pins, I have to play to the far left and far right. So this bunker here is achieving the same thing kind of subconsciously that this bunker here is. I think the play is to, we have water right. You could maybe even bring the fairway closer. Actually, are we below the water? It does feel like we're kind of sitting below the water again, so I'd be just mindful of having water. Like, it might just be because it comes up and then goes back down, which you typically wouldn't see as well. See how all the land moves down towards the water? This feels like it should move that way as well. So I feel like the fairway could come in closer to the water here on the right, and then the land moves down towards the water. And that gives us access to this pin, right? And then this is our hazard, is the water on the right. And then on the left-hand side, we have this nice area here where we could maybe fit some carry bunkers in for the driver. So we have some carry bunkers, and then the left-hand side places like a diagonal carry, and it does similar to what we saw in the first hole, where it's like, how much do I want to bite off to the left here to get access to these pins? And then you leave the center area as the safe area, right? Because we have all this width to work with. Let's leave the center area as the safe area, and then remove this bunker because the safe area is kind of blocking us out from both pin sets anyway. But I'm going to try to play out here to the right, which I still have the water to deal with a little bit, but I have a nice friendly stop there. Kick left. Big kick left. And then now I've taken this out of play a little bit more by playing out here, and then this bunker isn't affecting me as much. And then again with the bunker shapes, the little fidget spinner here, I would kind of pick a side to put a finger on. It feels like you're kind of trying to do this side here, so you know, maybe bring this finger down and let it sit like a little V in here instead. Or just do a little shitty bunker that, you know, keeps this shape up at the top, but maybe just widens out a touch at the bottom. Then it allows you to kind of wrap the green a little bit more around. And then I'd be careful of having all this red slope that's just draining into bunker. I think it's a little bit punitive. But overall, the green slope makes sense. Could maybe smooth this out and let this be like a big long run between the two sides of the green, so you can have a bunker or a pin here, you know, pin here, which I assume is kind of what you already have. I like that green site though. That's neat. Playing, you know, you play down towards the water and then you play back up to the green up there. I think that looks nice. Okay, this is fun. So a nice sweeping left to right. Everything's just grabbing you and pulling you up the hill here. Like even if I didn't have the pin marker here, like it's very clear that that's where the hole's going, which is good. Those kind of visual indicators, those, I think those things go a long way. So I like that we have that here. Lots of space here to work with. We want to be as far left as we can to get a look at this green. And look at how small that green is. But that's okay. It's a relatively short hole. So I want to be out here. Okay, so again, this bunker here, I would just get rid of it, if I'm being honest. And the reason why is it's blind off the tee. I don't think it's really protecting anything except for the safe landing zone, which is funny because that's kind of it's more blind off the tee, but having it open up that way, I think is okay. And then leave all these bunkers here. I think they're great. Like they're protecting that side there. So yeah, that right-hand bunker is not really, it's not a framing bunker. It's not a visual cue of any kind. I would say just get rid of it and open up the fairway a little bit there. And then this gives us a nice look. I like the way these bunkers sit short of the green. I wish they were a little bit more visible. So I think the land, you know, here and here could come down just a little bit. And then the bunkers could honestly probably be a touch bigger as well. I don't think we need this fairway here. I'm never going to aim at it. And if I hit it by accident, that's just kind of pure dumb luck. I'd say this could honestly be one whole bunker. You could bring the bottom down here and then bring a nice finger down so it looks visually like two different bunkers. And then this bunker to the left here, you could probably just get rid of the fingers and open it up because you can't really see it anyway. If you want to do like some fingers coming down into it, I would just make it a little bit bigger. It's okay to have a small green with bunkers that are, you know, well protecting it. As long as you kind of get the scaling right, which even with this green being small, these bunkers still feel small around it. Let's see. Actually, we're pretty close there, I think. That. Yeah, that's close. I would like to see a little bit of... It's back here. So this is one of those things. I don't know if you plan on going to 18 holes. If there was another green back here, that would look really cool through the trees here. If not, I think some planting to just kind of break this up, whether this comes out, you know, that way or this comes out this way or something. Just something to break it up a little bit. Because it feels like we're getting a glimpse into like the unkempt or the untouched part of the plot, and I mean that from like a look behind the curtain, behind the scenes, where we might not necessarily want people to see. I think I see a green back here too, or a fairway or something, and that's or tee box. And that's kind of neat. I like being able to see to other holes. Okay. So we have a drivable 4. And it's a blind drivable 4. I like that. This is fun. Okay, I like this. I think that this over here for the left could come a little bit closer. We don't want it so close that it's like pulling the green down or anything, but having this a little bit closer, because it feels like this land comes up, which I think for a par 3 makes sense, but I think a par 4. Do the rocks on the beach look whack? No. I honestly didn't even notice them. No, I think they look fine. Even the two different colors. I mean, I think there's an argument to me that you wouldn't have the two different color rocks, right? Because typically rocks in one area are going to be like one specific color, but visually I think it looks fine. The green shape here I think is really good, except for this little bit right here. If you just smooth that out and then keep the rest of it as it is, I think you've got a nice interesting green shape with that works well with the slopes that we've got. This is an interesting little runoff here to the left too. I like that we can kind of get a peek through there. I wish the bunker was a little bit more visible, right? Because the bunker, we literally just have this tiny bit here. So the green area is really cool. I think the green area works really well for this hole. As we move back though, I don't think we're giving the golfer a good enough layup area, right? Because I don't think 5-iron is honestly like the fair play here off the tee. I think the green shape works. I think extending the fairway a little bit to the left here to allow the player to play like a 3-iron out to here, or a hybrid depending on what they carry, and get a blind shot is good. And then I also think extending the fairway back down into this area, right? Because it's relatively flat, well, kind of, but bring the fairway back into here. So we have to carry this hill, which you could also face with some bunkers if you bring it down just a touch. You could probably fit some bunkers in there. So then we have like 3 different options. Do we go for the green, which in this case I would probably every time, because I am pretty safe over here to the right. And then the next option would be, do I want to carry these bunkers to have a little bit better shot, carry these bunkers and lay up to the right hand side here and get a look into the green a little bit, but the green's sloping away from me now? Or do I want to play 3-iron out to the left here where I have almost no challenges on the tee, but I have a completely blind shot that's, 120 yards in. So there's like 3 different really like pretty concise and I think pretty fair options off the tee. Whereas here, like when I look at this is all just telling me go for the green. There's no reason for me not to go for the green as the hole sits right now. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do. Carry. Perfect. Okay. I like that. And I could have even, like, instead of playing to here, I could have tried to play down to here. And, like, if there's a pin here and you, like, try to carry the bunker and get the slope here, I think that's a lot of fun. I think that there's a lot to really like about the green site here. I think if we just add some options off the tee, I think that's the one thing that's kind of missing there. Hey, Jack, how you doing? Incoming humans? Uh-oh. How was the stream today? C-Mount with the follow. Lucas with the follow. Appreciate it, guys. Really appreciate it. We're just doing some Design League playthroughs. We're finishing up InThisStyle, who's in chat with us. We're finishing up his course right now. Didi with the follow as well. Thank you. I appreciate that. So yeah, going back to the plot, if I were to turn this into 18 holes, I'd say using a little bit more of the land movement out here, I think would be nice. And then finishing up back around the lake, I think makes a lot of sense here, right? Holes 8, 9, they probably don't need to be, you probably don't even need to come back to the clubhouse. You could probably do an out and back routing. And then finishing up, around the lake and using this kind of feature lake that we have, I think would be a good way to kind of finish up the plot. So yeah, I think you did a good job. I liked that. There was some good hole designs there. I think there's a couple things that could be tweaked to, kind of improve the playability and give you, sensical options off the tee, especially on that 6th hole. But I think there was a lot to like about that. I think you did a good job. All right. So that was InThisStyle. We're gonna go ahead and take a look at Zacheroni's course. Yeah, no problem. No problem at all. Thank you for submitting a course and putting in the time to participate in Design League and all that. It's a lot of fun for us, and I hope you guys get some good feedback out of it as well, because it's I've actually been really enjoying it. Yesterday I was just exhausted, so I think my brain was a little fuzzy, but as a whole, I've really been enjoying doing all these playthroughs with you guys. So we've got Edisto 6-hole from Zacheroni up next. Hopefully the stream quality is a little better than the last time you rated me, Wayne. All right. As always, we're going to play... Well, you only gave us 1 T, but that's fine. We're going to play pin 2, low wins. Low default wins. And for those of you who just joined us in chat, too, from Wayne's stream, we're doing Design League 3.1 playthroughs right now. And Design League 3.1 was kind of a... If you think back to writing prompts in high school, it was basically a golf course design prompt of a 6-hole... golf course on a plot that uses interesting features and has the golf course kind of incorporate those features in interesting ways or gives you visuals of those features. So it was mostly focused on the design of a plot and was just kind of about working your way out from there. So yeah, Zach, you're up next. Let's take a look. No carts beyond this point. Love it. All right, let's take a peek. Play Storm King, original. We'll see, Maddie. Hey, Maddie, that sub icon looks great on you, by the way, right? All right, so we've got some sandy wasteland out here. And then some interesting kind of rock forms in the background there. Who dat, Matt, with the follow? I appreciate that. How you doing, Matt? It's good to see you. So yeah, definitely some interesting things going on here with the plot. This is kind of neat. Bob with the follow as well. Thanks, I appreciate it. If you like the content, you know, feel free to, as Betty would say, like, comment, subscribe. All right, so no carts beyond this point. I'd argue maybe we didn't need the signs, but they are kind of funny. But Zach, this compared to the last course of yours I played, which I believe was your rookie course. I think that this looks, I mean, this looks a lot better, if I'm being honest. Dunes, so hot right now. Aren't they, Maddie? We love dunes. All right. So, what are you doing here? An angle from the right a little bit. So I probably want to play out to here. So off the bat on the first tee here, I like the visuals of the bunkers being out there. They get a little bit lost with how much sand we have going on here, so there could probably be a little bit more planting, you know, maybe below the trees to kind of frame this out more, and make the sand just a little less in your face, you know. However, if we look out here, playability wise, I feel like I always, I mean, with the 2 flanking bunkers, you might play to the left if there's a bunk or if there's a pin here. I feel like all the pins are probably sitting pretty close to the center of the green though, with all the slopes coming in. So there might be one in the very front. I don't know with that slope there if you'd want one there though. If this is smoothed out, I could see there being a pin there as well. And if there was a pin there, I mean, you could play to the left. I feel like we should have a little bit more challenging our tee shot to the right out here. And then this bunker feels like it's kind of... Maybe it doesn't need to be there. But it looks nice off the tee. I don't know, what are your guys' thoughts? I'm torn. I feel like I'm kind of nitpicking there, if I'm being honest. I don't think the whole design's really bad. The sculpting on this bunker I do feel like is a bit You know, we have sand kind of being in the sky there. The bunker on the right feels like it's sculpted much better. The one on the left feels like it's, you know, this is a bit abrupt. We kind of have a wall of sand, so this part up here could probably come down a touch, and maybe even make this more of a finger coming out. But overall, you know, you can see them nicely. They flank the green nicely. I don't think they look bad out there. The sculpting on the backside's a little bit rough, so those could probably be, you know, maybe a little bit more smoothed out. And then I feel like we could have come in with a heavy rough brush a little bit just around the bunkers and given it a little bit more polish. So we have the nice heavy rough sitting up around it. So yeah, par 5. This is also par 5. This is a little I think this is definitely a very gettable 5. Oh, I didn't see the slope we were sitting on. Okay. As I blast one into the bunker on no tempo. 9-iron splash. Ooh. The front to back green though I think makes sense. That makes it, you know, kind of run down towards the water. As I yank one. All right, good par. Good par. So yeah, overall, Zach, I want to say, because I have seen some of your other courses, I think that this again is a huge improvement in the right direction for you. And so, you know, all the notes I'm giving you are mostly just ways to improve from here. So I'm not dogging on you. All right, par 3. Again, it does, like, we have the planting right in front of the tee here, but as we move on out, it kind of it's just all sand. So, you know, again, breaking up the sand out here a little bit, I think with a little bit more planting would make a lot of sense. And then these trees almost feel like they don't need to be there at all, if I'm being honest. They feel like they're encroaching a little bit just because we have water out here. So I don't feel like there would maybe even be trees out here at all. These trees I feel like could maybe sit on the right-hand side out here a little bit further, rather than being on the left and blocking our view of the coastline. Unless we're hiding something back there. Are we hiding? Oh, we are hiding something back there. I'd imagine that's what we're blocking with the trees. That's just one of those things. Delta has that weird, you know, plot edge. You just have to kind of feel that out and plan for that when you do your routing, but those are things you learn in time. The green shape here, we talked, yeah, embrace it. We talked a little bit before about green shapes and just keeping them a little bit more smoothed out. I think this is an example where we could do that a little bit more, and just kind of smooth out, round out these shapes out here. I don't mind bringing this green out here and then, you know, kind of continuing with it that way. It's just a little bit rough around the edges. And then this bunker here, I don't mind the way it sits. I think it looks kind of nice. I think the sculpting could be a little bit more polished on it, and just making sure that the high points are kind of, you know, look more like this and less like this back here where the sand is closer to the high point. And then on the left hand side here, I would say you could almost bring the bunker into the waist area here, and have the bunker kind of start down here and then work its way up to these nice lobes that you've got up against the green. But overall, I think the length of the hole, this works. I think you could have maybe a little bit more right to left movement rather than the other way, because the land is begging for us to go towards the ocean, right? So I think having this move right to left makes sense from a playability standpoint, because then you can sneak a ball in a little bit easier, you know, around to the spot behind the bunker. And then it also makes sense just from a realistic standpoint, because we have the opposite, right? This is moving left to right, and I feel like it should be probably moving right to left instead. And that was quite a bit. Yeah. The runoff here on the back, I didn't even notice that before, but the runoff here on the back, I think that's just too punitive. I just flatten this out, bring this all up to the level of the green here. We don't need to be, I don't think we need to be dumping a shot like that off into the rough in the back. Can't, oh, there we go. Couldn't hit my shot. I got my par though. You weren't exactly protecting par with that. I just felt like it was punishing a decent shot. All right, now we've got a drivable 4. So again, I know I mentioned it before. A little bit more planting out here on the left and right, just to kind of break up the sand that we've got out here. I actually don't mind the big rocks in the background here. I feel like they could have been a little bit more layered. You know, we have a lot of plot back here to work with. So I feel like instead of just kind of bringing it up here in the front, we could have created kind of rows of it as we go back, which would have, with the fog and everything, would have given you kind of some nice layering back there. But as a whole, I don't hate it. And I would like a little bit more visibility out here. I think, you know, we have a drivable 4, right? So I think we should have a lot of space back here to work with fairway. And I think you could really open that up, especially out here to the left. You know, when we're looking here off the tee, we can see a little bit of fairway. But if this was opened all the way up to fairway out here, I think that would be a really nice look off this tee. I see what we're going for. I think we could go a little bit further to really pull it off, though. Because this fairway starting at 215, I think it could have started all the way back here at 150. You know, really bring it back here and open it up. Because I'm just gonna hit driver, I think, 10 times out of 10 at this. Because the bunker shots are pretty straightforward. I think we could have, something that could make the green side like this a little bit more challenging is to like bring the green up or something along those lines, where you have to play to, I'm not going to say a volcano drivable 4 because I don't know that that's necessarily the play, but wow, that was a very friendly a very friendly slope. But if you pull the shot off like that, that's the reward. That's huge. The green also feels a touch small, but it is a drivable 4, so there's probably an argument to be made there. But yeah, I think just having the green sit up a little bit higher, you know, and let everything fall off on every side, maybe even do fairway runoffs, and then bunkering up front to really guard it. But, you know, I think there's some ideas you can play with there. It doesn't necessarily mean those are the right ones, but, whoops. Oh, okay, I thought I missed that putt. Okay. Another par 4, kind of medium length. Yeah, again, I think the fairway, we can see it a lot better here. I think the fairway could still start a little bit closer. You know, maybe around this area here, but this also feels really narrow compared to what we've gotten on the rest of the course. You know, we just had a drivable 4 where the entrance to the green wasn't much narrower than this, and now this is what we are faced on this tee shot. I think we can open this hole up to the left because, again, we have kind of a right to left favor here, right? We're protecting the front left of this green, so I think you could open up this left-hand side because the bunker's protecting the green, and then we can open up short and right, and then leave this bunker where it is to protect that right-hand side where people are trying to get the angle. I think just a little changes like that, I think, improve the playability of the hole. Yeah, it does feel, you know, Manatee mentioned in chat that it feels a little bit cramped, and I think that's a fair point. The bunker here on the right, I think the sculpting is really aggressive, or really kind of rough on the backside here. I think smoothing this out with the fuzzy flatten brush, just use that to smooth that out. I think that will help that sit a little bit nicer. Again, the green feels a touch small, and it does feel like we've done a lot of the same kind of green site. The green sits down a little bit, and we have bunkers flanking left and right, right? I think we've had that on 3 of the 4 holes. The one we didn't have it on was the par 3. So I think we could, you know, kind of come up with some more variation in our green sites. Yeah, like this is doing it more. The green is now sitting perpendicular to us, and then we've just got a bunker flanking, or just protecting the front side of it, with the right side being open. And I like that because now it's, okay, if I challenge the inside of the dog leg, right, I have a shorter shot, but it's over the bunker. So this is kind of an either or. It's not just telling us how to play the hole. Whereas if I want the angle, which is out to the right here, which it doesn't really give it to us anyway, but if I wanted the angle, I'd have to play out to the right-hand side, and I'd have a longer shot in. This hole, it doesn't really change much, the angle. You'd have to really be able to play out here to the right to make any difference, and you'd be hitting such a far shot at that point that it wouldn't matter. So I guess here it is pretty clearly hit to the left. I feel like if the green opened up a little bit more on the right-hand side, that would then maybe favor playing out to the right with a longer shot. I do like that we have the bunker kind of coming in from out there. I think the sculpting could be a little bit more, again, just a little bit more polished off on that, but I think we're close there. But I like that we're protecting the inside of the dog leg with it, and that's where you're getting the preferred shorter shot. And yeah, this is a really short shot, so I think that the depth here works. I feel like the green's a little bit small. I think you could keep maybe this general shape and just kind of extend it out to the left here, and maybe even extend it down to the right or in front of the bunker a little bit. But as a whole, it makes sense where it is. It just feels a little bit small. And then one thing I haven't mentioned, but I've seen it on a couple holes now, is I probably should have showed you back there, but the fairway sculpting, it feels like we took the little chickenpox brush and cranked it up to like 3 feet and then just spun it around in the middle of the fairway. I don't know what you actually did to do it, but it feels a little unnatural, and it's very aggressive. I feel like if you take those brushes and you go up to between like 6 inches and a foot max. A foot is for like links courses with really pocked up fairways. I think like 8 inches is typically what I would do, just to get a little bit of undulation going in the fairway. And then if you use the bigger ones rather than the small one, there's the little tiny dots, and then there's the medium, or the big dots, and then there's the like big wavy blobs that are, I think, the top right brush in that same page. If you use the one on the far right or the one in the middle, you don't get as like aggressively like messed up fairways, which I don't think is really what we were going for. All right, so we're finishing off with a long par 4. Again, the green just feels like it's really small and a bit crammed in. I feel like we just need a lot more space on this course to let these holes kind of breathe and speak for themselves. So, more fairway surrounds, and then having fingers of bunkers that are coming in. But, this is kind of straightforward. There's not really a whole lot I feel like it's asking us to do here other than just hit the shot as well. And then the visual from the tee, if the green sat up a little bit higher, I think it would give it a really nice look with the ocean just sitting behind it. And then I would maybe move or choose a different clubhouse, but the planting again, we've got a little bit more of this out here. I think if this land came up a little bit, you could probably, play with that a little bit more. But having, again, planting come in a little bit around the outside, I think would help it feel a little bit more blended rather than just having the planting right in front of the tee box. Let's go ahead and hit. I'm just gonna hit that because I think it's about the right club. Hopefully that's not too far downhill short. That did get a little bit of a kick forward. But the green slope makes sense with it being as, oh, we made the putt. With the green being as small as it is, I think having it, you know, not be super aggressive makes a lot of sense. We see a lot of the default planting back there too, so kind of trying to block that out with some of our own planting would go a long way. And then if I were to extend that into 18 holes, I think going inland a little bit, maybe, I mean, you could do the Terra Edie thing and go, you know, into the trees a little bit more. Honestly, it makes a lot of sense. You could even, if you forego the trees and you played up into, or you layered the kind of rocky, sandy plant, or really aggressive terrain in the background that we had there, if that was layered a little bit more to where you could actually play up through it a little bit, I think that would be really interesting. And yeah, a little bit more land movement with maybe some views of the ocean from higher up in the plot, I think would introduce some really interesting looks and everything like that. But overall, Zach, I actually think, you know, I just want to say that I think that that's a huge improvement, and I actually think, you know, you're getting better as a designer, and I really like to see that. So I look forward to seeing kind of what you come up with as you mature as a designer, and I hope you got some valuable feedback from this, and I hope you keep going at it, because I do think, you know, you're young, and I think you got a lot to learn, but I think you got what it takes as long as you kind of keep at it. So yeah, what Manatee said, go Zach. I think you did a good job. All right. I'm going to take a quick break, just a couple of minutes here, and I'll be right back. My wife just called me, so she's at work. I want to make sure everything's okay. And I'll be right back with you guys in just a moment. All right, we're back. So yeah, we only have 2 more to go, and I'm kind of sad that you know, that we're already almost done. But this has been fun. I've enjoyed playing these with you guys, and I appreciate you guys tuning in to kind of give your input, and if it was your course, you know, for hanging out. Gage, you're up next. I don't know if you're still here. I know you came in early, so I feel a little bad, but GageTParayko? I hope I'm pronouncing that right. We're gonna go for the blue tees, pin 2, and light winds, as we always do. Thanks, Nick. I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys trusting me with such an important task as well. All right. Oh, there you are. All right, Gage. Let's do it. Awesome. I got it right. I'm pretty good. I'm terrible at remembering names, but I'm good at pronouncing them. So Gage, I don't think I've seen you around before, so give me your kind of experience or background with the designer and with the game as we look around the plot. So we are in Swiss. Some thick mountain foliage. Looks like we've got a little bit of a highway that comes through. And a lake. Some houses. Waterfalls, love to see it. Awesome. Okay. We don't have a ton of land movement. I kind of like the sparse planting again. I know we've seen that before. We'll see how it kind of incorporates into the golf and everything like that. But, you know, we've got a path into our clubhouse here. Looks like we've got some OB to deal with, too. This nice meandering creek. Let's take a peek. Let's take a peek. Okay, so look off the tee. We get a little bit of a look at the clubhouse. I do wish we had a little bit more fairway down here to work with. Just I think visually it fills in. It would fill in the space a little bit nicer. And offering that space to the player isn't really something that, you know, is gonna benefit them greatly. It's visually just kind of a thing. Once you start getting past 200 yards carry off the tee, unless there's something there, it really starts making you ask questions. So we got a dogleg left, where the preferred angle is coming in from the left. Well, I like this green site. I like the way this sits down here. Green is moving left to right with the land, which I like to see. A lot that makes sense. I like that you've been doing kind of a some custom bunker styles there. We're very consistent in our bunker styles. I do feel like these could be blown up a little bit in terms of like just their size. Don't go blow up all your bunkers. I don't think you need to do that. And I think that they could be kind of rounded off in the front a little bit just to make them they play. I think they play a little bit better that way, and then I think they look a little bit nicer as well. You know, because on the left-hand side, if I'm looking at this from the tee, I feel like there could be a little bit more sand just on this left-hand side here, and that's where that would come from. But the little U-shaped ones, we see that with, they're a little bit more right filled in around the corners there, so just getting a little bit more of that in here. But the whole design makes sense. Let's challenge the bunker on the inside left here to get a good look and a shorter shot at that hole. And then the camber's taking us away from that as well. So we've got a little bit of a reverse camber. Obviously, I'm going to like challenge that as much as I can. I do feel like maybe you could have even afforded a little bit more width out to the right. I've messed around in the designer for quite some time now, but this is my first publish since the first game. Wow, okay, that's awesome. I think for a first publish, there's a lot to like about this, that's for sure. I like, okay, so I've mentioned it before in a couple other ones. The grasses here, we're using a couple different color grasses. And I think that that's good. That adds a little bit of variety and texture. The only thing I would say is we need like a highlight in here. We need something that kind of breaks up the green a little bit. Just a little bit of a yellow grass or a white flower or something in there to break up that look a little bit. You know, we can kind of see it over here on the right. It's being broken up a little bit. I don't know if you guys can see that on stream, but I'd like to see them just blended in a little bit more to break that up. Like we can see it over here. These grasses almost act as like a little bit of a highlight. But yeah, what Jack mentioned, the environment is good. I agree. I like we have a lot of space for these holes to sort of breathe out here. And we just have the little pine trees that are kind of coming in. I like that. I think we could maybe drop the end of the fairway down a little bit just so we can get a little bit better look at the green side in here, because it is really nice. I do like what you've done in here. And again, I just think maybe a little bit more bunker in here, and you know, maybe a little bit more bunker in here. This bunker I think is great. I think that bunker is perfect. I wouldn't change anything about it. I think it, like, look at the way it sits there. It looks really, really good. If you're a first-time designer and this is what you're coming up with for your bunkers, I'd love to see more of that. I think that that's great. Into the wind a little bit. This section might be short. Nope. It'll die in the slope, but that works. We didn't really talk about the green shape, but or the green shape. I think it works. I think it works well here. Maybe you could smooth that out, but honestly, I would really be nitpicking you if I said that. I would just leave it the way it is. I don't think much needs to be changed. I would maybe say that this could be smoothed out through here, but other than that, the kind of step down of the tiers, I think makes sense here. I'm just looking to see kind of the way the beads are moving on the green here. Yeah, these could maybe be smoothed out because they are very binary where we have like red slope and then we have flat and then red slope and then flat again. These could maybe be smoothed out just a little bit. You know, if you took like a 2-inch brush and just moved it up along the bottom here and then maybe 2 inches down here, it would cause this to slope a little bit, which is fine. You can have, you know, the green slopes there. And then just have it kind of waterfall down a little bit so it's a little less binary. Yeah, Manatee said it there. Wish the tiers were more of a constant slope. Yeah, kind of like what we have here, right? This is a nice, like, just constant slope. You could have this on the other tiers as well, and then you can kind of fade from like green slope into yellow slope into green rather than just having the red slopes. It's just really binary in the way that it plays. But again, that's like, I have to find things to talk about, right? So we're going to nitpick those things a little bit. Okay. Got a creek. I like that we have a little bit of visual for the creek. I do wish there was maybe some planting along the edge of it. So we could kind of visually make it out a little bit better. But overall, it's not terrible. Our waterfall could probably use some planting around it. And then water planes. If you have a water plane here, you can put a water plane at the exact same level and bring it all the way out here to the edge. Unless you might have been dealing with the shadows, in which case the planting around it usually helps with those. Waterfalls are really finicky and complicated, and I don't do them for that reason. Because actually, if we look up at this one, that's the dark space. When you have the water get too close, it creates this like dark space down here. So filling in with a little bit of rock or something can help kind of break that up. But look off the tee. I like, so let me move my text out of the way. I like the way the bunkers stack up as we look towards the green. I think that's a nice look. The preferred angle, we don't really have a preferred angle because we do have the bunker short there. For this pin, there's definitely a preferred angle of the out to the left here. And then yeah, the green, again, we have we have these really like concise tiers, right? I can tell you exactly where every pin on this screen is, 1, 2, and then 3 and 4. It might not be in that order, but yeah. I think smoothing these out a little bit and just kind of letting the screen fall gently from the back up here down to the front, I think would make it feel a little bit more natural. And then again, the bunkering, it looks pretty nice. What I like about it is that it's consistent. I do again feel like, you know, maybe this lobe could come up here and we could fill in the space a little bit more. You know, maybe down here as well with the bunkering. But as a whole, you know, I think a lot of these bunkers look pretty good. I honestly don't know, because of how short the hole is, I don't know that I'd ever really challenge this kind of slot down here to the left. I think I'd always be playing up here to the right, even though that's not the preferred angle. Just because we have this bunker here that I'd argue maybe doesn't need to be there. I would honestly say you could probably get rid of this bunker and maybe bring this bunker in a little bit more from the right. That way you can really kind of tell the golfer, hey, if you want the angle, you got to play to the left here. But again, with the hole being as short as it is, I don't think it makes a huge difference. Oh, I really yanked that. Ooh, thank you for the generous bounce there. And then yeah, the look in here to the green I think is fine. The bunkers could maybe be I don't know if you sculpted them like this front right one doesn't feel like maybe it was sculpted. If you bring down the space here in the beginning or in the front of the bunker, just maybe by a foot, like big fuzzy brush, just kind of bring it down and then pull up this little bit in the back here. And then you could maybe make the bunker a little bit deeper. It might have to be a little bit bigger, like a little bit more filled in to be deeper. But it does, you know, I kind of want that visual challenge of, oh, I have to hit it over this bunker to get to this pin, and I don't feel like I'm really getting that. And it doesn't have to be much. It doesn't take a whole lot to really make that pop a little bit more and be a little bit more dramatic. But again, looking back at this look behind the green here, I think it looks really good. Like the environment is really, I think it's really solid. And the way that the trees are a little more clumped together back here, I think makes a lot of sense. I would say maybe take some of the planting we've done here and bring it in below the trees there. And then we do have like a lot of just empty kind of space out here that I feel like could be maybe filled in with some underbrush. I don't mind seeing tree trunks. I'm not gonna go to that level. But you know, through here, breaking this up a little bit with maybe some lower pines like we have out here, or some of this underbrush that we've got, I think could go a long way. But again, this is really solid. Like if this is your first publish, I'm really actually quite impressed. Yeah, okay, so this is a long hole for what we're looking at here. Yeah, I like the grasses in here. So one thing, and this is a trick that it's a lot more time consuming, but with grasses like this, to be able to see them from the tee box back here, you can individually plant them and blow them up. And I know you're probably like going, why on earth would I spend the time to individually plant them? Well, they look nice, and two, if you blow them up and you do a bunch of grasses in here and you get like an area that you like, you can copy and paste that area to another area. And that's how you can kind of build it up really quickly. So you can kind of individually plant all them, make them blow up a little bit, and then just to the point where you can see them from the tee, and then it would make it look really nice. Yeah. And we've used the highlight grasses, I feel like, well. Like, we've got the highlight grasses, so bringing that into some of the other planting I think would look nice, but I like that we're using different colored grasses again to create kind of it gives it a really natural look, right? Because everything's not just one blank color of grass. So overall, I think that's really good. Used a ton of meter on grass, I bet. The other thing that individual planting can do is you don't end up planting grasses on top of each other to where they are so dense that they're just eating up a bunch of meter unnecessarily. So like in here, I can see that there's a bunch of grasses kind of sitting on top of each other. They don't necessarily need to do that. You can break it up a little bit more and you'll still get the same effect from the tee here. So let's talk about the hole a little bit. I think this hole is a touch long for what we get here. It does feel like we're going for a little bit of a redan, to where like the further left you miss, you're getting a more friendly kick towards the green. However, like when I look at this pin right here, we have a slope that I can kind of kill the ball into, but the area to like for me to make this pin, I feel like the area for me to hit is like this big, you know, and I have to hit that with a 5-iron. If the hole is a little bit shorter, it opens up my area to miss because the ball's not going to roll out as much. And then you maybe don't even need as much fairway out here to kind of work with. But the other thing too is you don't need bunkers short of the green. I think they'd look nice. I kind of actually like what you did without having the bunkers there. I think it probably plays really well if you miss short, because heavy rough sucks in the game. And the look off the tee is still nice with just the bunkers behind it. The only thing I'd say again with the bunkers is just filling them in a little bit more. You know, just a little bit down in these corners, and maybe even bringing this one down a little bit. But overall, I think they look pretty nice. Let's see. I also have terrible wind for this hole at this length. I'm gonna try to just get that ball right in the armpit of that green. Nope, oh, well, that was close. I just want to be, I want to be on the short side of this green because I don't want to be putting downhill with this little bit here. I don't want to be putting backwards. And same thing from down here, like a putt from up here, having to try to play through this slope and then have it not come off the green is quite challenging. Patrick, how you doing? We're doing some Design League playthroughs today. Ooh, almost made the chip. Okay. Needed a breath after finishing World Cup. I bet. I was thinking we needed to give you a little bit of a break there instead of harping you for rookie results. Wink, wink. Okay, so off the tee, I like that we can see the waterfalls on the left. They're blocked by the golfer, which is fine. I mean, a lefty can see it, and I don't, you know, I'm okay being punished for being right-handed. I do feel like we need a little bit of planting around the waterfalls to make them feel like they sit in there a little bit more naturally, whether we're using logs or rocks or bushes or whatever to kind of get them to feel a little bit more natural. Rookie results are done. Just need some free time. I hear you there. That's exciting, though. I look forward to seeing them. I think it'll be fun. The other thing we could have done here is, I know it's a huge pain in the butt, but you can bring down the water just like one little bit at a time, and you can actually make the water move downstream. That could also give us a good look too. It's just really time consuming to go through and place every single little water plane as we move it down the hill. So, you know, I can understand why we did the waterfalls instead, and they look fine. One thing though is the water source feels like it just kind of comes out of nowhere. So I would maybe see this being a little bit more of a pond that came, you know, maybe opens back up into the backside here. And then has some sort of kind of choke point to let the water out. That way it feels a little bit more natural. It would feel a little bit like a you know, a pond that had to be pumped. It would still feel artificial. It wouldn't feel very natural, but I think it would make a little bit more sense than just kind of having the water come out of nowhere, or seemingly come out of nowhere. And then it's really hard, because it's an uphill hole, it's really hard to make this water visible from the tee. It makes sense on a hole like this to have the water there, as far as like as far as like having the drive over the water to the drivable 4. I just feel like we can't really see the water very well, so maybe some planting in here to help incorporate and make it a little bit more visible would help. And then, yeah, if you did the pond, you could even bring it up closer along the left side of the green, which would really make people question, do I really want to go for this? You know, because this is a pretty generous landing area here for that. The green does feel like we're fighting the land a little bit. Actually, I wouldn't even say this feels like we're fighting the land. It feels like this feels like we're fighting the land, this little runoff area, which I get what we're doing. Like, if you miss the green to the right here, you have this awful chip back down the other side. I think playability-wise, it makes sense. Just kind of visually and from a realism perspective, it doesn't necessarily make as much sense. You could maybe have something like this where there's bunkers sitting in here, but honestly, I would maybe just bring the hill down right up to the green. That way you have a downhill chip out of heavy rough down this green instead, which would play very similar to this. It would actually arguably be a harder shot, but yeah, it doesn't. I think it would make me question whether I should go for this a little bit more. Right now, I'm looking at this going, yeah, I'm just going to bang it at the green every day. I like that you gave us a huge layup area, though. I think that's a good... That's a really good decision to make here. I would argue that you could even give us a little bit more room for 3-wood out here, but honestly, like, you gave me 3-iron. I don't think I can really complain more. So let's go ahead and bang one on here. Let's see if we can get this. I'm going to aim kind of right at the hole. Pushed it a little bit. Nah, it's going to miss. Oh, no, we did get a nice friendly bounce there. The green slopes make a lot of sense. They're sloping down towards the water. Everything's breaking, you know, pretty much from right to left there. So, you know, I think that makes a lot of sense. I'd argue maybe the backstop doesn't need to be there. You know, we're hitting driver into this. And then if we're not hitting driver, we're probably hitting like a wedge. So the backstop playability-wise isn't adding a whole lot. I think it looks fine, though. Could maybe smooth it out a little bit, because we do, again, we have a little bit of the kind of just a flat tier sitting back there. So that could probably be smoothed out a bit. This is a nice look. Real short. I think there's it's very clear that you understand a lot of fundamentals of golf course design. You know, we've got a golf hole here that makes sense. It's got a small green. There's no fairways around to it, which I think is fine. Well, there's fairway around it, but there's no like apron. You know, I think the whole design makes a lot of sense. I like the way that it sits out here. I do kind of wish we could see the front area here a little bit more. I would say we maybe don't need to have the tee boxes be as big as they are. They could probably be a little bit smaller, and maybe sit a little bit closer together so we could drop this one kind of out of view a little bit more. Because we already kind of have, you know, the land in front of the green down, but we can't really see that. It's just one of those visual things that with the game, the way it plays, makes it a little bit more, can make it a little bit more challenging. So, you know, I'd say, you know, maybe let's find a way that we can make this a little bit less visible and make what we have behind it, because it looks really good. The way we sit up here on the plot too, it looks good. The other thing, I'll move chat out of the way. The fence over here on the left just feels... I think these are... Oh no, these are really tall. Yeah, they just feel really tall. If you use the left stick to drop the fences down to their default height, I think that looks really good. Or if you even dropped them down so you can only see like 1 or 2 of these, I think that would look really nice. This just feels like it's really tall. It feels like a snow fence almost. And maybe that's what you were going for. And then the green shape was the other thing I was going to mention about playability. Just kind of straightening out this wavy edge. I think it looks a little goofy. Doesn't feel as natural. Nice view of Andre's peak there in the background. Move chat back over. Let's see. Make a putt. I think the green slopes made a lot of sense. One thing that I noticed was there could almost be a more consistent lip here in the front where this comes up. And then maybe smooth out the bumps there in the front. Bob mentioned front tee off to the left, maybe even. Yeah, moving the tees off to the left or the right too is another good way to kind of make them disappear from view. You can kind of almost have them wrap around, like a par 3. You can have them wrap around kind of at an angle, a circular angle around the green. That's another way to make them disappear. Okay, so we got our par 5. Interesting green. This is kind of neat because you can definitely tell, like, a pin back up here to the left, and even this pin to some extent almost turn this into more of a... It's kind of short, so we'll see how it plays, but it might turn it into more of a 3-shotter, because you might not be able to get at this pin. So having the green kind of wrap around the way that it does. I obviously want to try to be as far left as I can. I don't think I would ever take 3-wood, which is fine. It's a par 5. Oh yeah, I was going to look to see, did we... Okay, so... Road OB. I don't think... When you're doing OB, I don't think that the road needs to be OB unless you're going to do OB behind the road. And the reason why is because you typically get a drop from this. So if I just blast it through down the road and then end up behind the OB, I haven't really been punished at all. So I would only OB this road if you're going to OB the space behind it. Also the OB, I mean, if I'm being completely honest, this OB just feels kind of lazy. It's just, you know, this one little painted bit here. You know, feel free to, you know, paint OB where you don't, where people shouldn't be playing. This would be internal OB, I think, here, which we usually aren't a big fan of. So I would argue just get rid of all this OB and just leave it the way it is. If you don't want people playing down the road, then make the clubhouse OB and then put some OB, you know, over here. But don't just make the road OB. Let's see. So, yeah, actually, for this pin, I might play further out to the right. Let's take a look at the actual map on the card. Because if I'm 30 feet downhill, I'm going to be in this area. Yeah, I'm actually going to play out to the right here. I think that that's the better play for me for this pin. I understand that that won't be the play for all pins, but honestly, I think that's what you're kind of asking here. So with the OB being that close down there, it's, you know, we're still kind of challenging that. Again, I think if the OB was extended out into the clubhouse in this area, that would make a lot of sense, but, ooh, stay on. Okay. That's about as good of a shot as I could have hit here. And then we've got a 3-iron into here. So yeah, this almost turns this hole. If the pin's back up here in the left, this pretty much turns it into a 3-shotter. I'd say maybe we could have a little bit more space up here to lay up to. because like I'm never gonna hit a gap wedge up into here, right? Like I don't think anybody's ever making that layup. So I would argue that you could probably bring your fairway. I would maybe even get rid of this fairway here, and then either bring the fairway all the way up to the left here, and then maybe even extend it up into this area as well, or just face the whole side of this hill with bunkers, and then bring the fairway up to the kind of bottom of the bunkers there. Just because I don't think we need to punish a shot. Like, let's say I blasted one into the bunker off the tee there. Maybe my only layup option is to kind of go into this area. I don't think we really need to punish that, you know. The one we want to make difficult is this shot right here, right? The guy who's trying to go for your green in 2. We're not trying to protect par. We're trying to protect, you know, we don't want someone scoring an eagle on us, right? We're going to try to defend it. This lane does feel like it's fighting. You know, everything feels like it wants to slope away from the bunker, which I think is fine. So I think bringing this little crook up here just up a little bit, so this kind of funnels out to the right, would feel a little bit more natural. See if we can get it all the way up there. I have no tempo, so I get the benefit of being able to play like that. Oh, and we're on 6. Okay, so just in case I make this eagle putt, because I kind of want to make it. We have a lot of, the holes are very spaced out. I feel like you afforded us a lot of width, and a lot of the holes felt like they fit pretty well in there. If I were to, you know, say how would I extend this routing, I would honestly take it across the main road over here and try to play down to or around the lake. You know, I felt like we never really got a view of the lake. You know, it's out there, but we only really saw it. I think it was this hole here. This was either 2 or 3. You know, we could see it in the background, but you know, if we want to use it as a background shot, I think we need to break up the planting a little bit, or play down to it. So I think that's something that I'd like to see incorporated into the routing if you were to take it to 18. You don't have to take it to 18, but it's just a thought there. But overall, I think you did a good job. I think the course has a nice feel to it. It's fairly cohesive. I'm gonna leave that short. Yep. And again, I liked the environment and the space you afforded to a lot of the golf holes out here. And I think, you know, we talked about fairway being able to be brought a little closer into the golfer on a few holes. I definitely think that's something that would help make it feel a little bit more expansive. But overall, I think you did a great job. And again, if you mentioned earlier that this is your first publish since TGC 1, I think that's a great effort, and I think you've got a lot of fundamentals down. So I'd love to see more from you, and I look forward to seeing what you produce, and hopefully you got some useful tips out of our playthrough today. Yeah, Manti said it too. Great first publish, absolutely. And if you're just starting off in design leagues, like, yeah, I can do 6 whole courses at a time. I think that's great. I love seeing you know, some newer designers getting in on design league, because I think that's a great place to start. I did design league last year when I was just starting out. That's actually how Talaria became an 18-hole course. So that started out as a design league. Maddie said, hey dude, your bunkers suck, and I got better at bunkers. All right, so yeah, that was Gage. Thanks again, Gage. I appreciate you participating in Design League this time around, and hopefully we get to see a little bit more from you, because I'd like that a lot. And then yeah, next up is bobbyj, and this is our very last course. Whoops. Let's 3.1. Let's do DL3. Oh, I think there's a space in there. There is DL3.1 by bobbyj. So yeah, we're gonna wrap things up with bobbyj here. Low winds as usual. Into. And for those of you that might be trying to get sneaky with me, who knows what pin I'll play next time? I could play pin 3 next time. I could play pin 4. Yeah, no problem, Gage. Thanks for tuning in. I'm glad you're able to be here for it. And like I said, hopefully you got some things you can kind of take on to the next course. And, you know, I'd say you're ready. If you haven't watched through like Ben's tutorials and stuff like that on like hole designs and stuff, I think that'd be, I think you're ready. I think you're ready for B101 tutorials. You're an alt National Treasure. That's awesome. I love to hear it. I'm participating in National Treasure as well. So I hope you build a whole 18-hole course for that. I know it's, you know, it's like, well, I'm an alt. No, build a whole 18-hole course. People will drop out. You'll get a shot at the main field. And, you know, I think you can build a good golf course from there. So, all right, Bobby J. Bobby J, I'm going to be honest. I don't think I recognize your name around here, but from what I'm seeing here, this doesn't feel like a first effort either. There's a lot going on this plot that I like. You know, again, feels like links. We're in Highland this time as well. We've got a lot of default planting going on, but that's okay, like to fill in the backgrounds and stuff. We've got some very clear like creeks that lead to an ocean inlet outlet here. You've taken the time to do all the beach work, which is just awesome. I'd love to see that. And then we've got some nice cliff work going on right here. That's awesome. All right, let's see how we used it. Right. Wow. Okay. I mean, this looks really good off the tee. We've got a short 4. It feels very linksy. We've got a lot of land movement with the fairway here. We've got a bunker in the back that we can see nicely off the tee. We can't see this bunker to the right here. So I would say that, well, we can kind of make it out there. It's just really hard to see with how dark the planting is. The clear angle, I feel like, is from the left here. Although with how short the hole is, I'd argue, you don't really need such a tight angle. But I like this bunker being out here. The sculpting is a little bit rough in the bottom. Oh, Rob J, you're Bobby J. Okay, awesome. Love that. That would make sense. Not my first, just haven't done much. Okay, that's awesome. I love that you were able to join us in chat. So the sculpting on the bottom of the bunker here is a little bit rough. I don't know if that's from sculpting or if that's from surfacing. If you don't have the internals of the bunkers completely covered with sand, you can end up with these little bumps that become like impossible to sculpt. So if you see these little bumps in your bunkers, you can take just the big circle bunker brush and just click over the top of it and see if it pops down. And then if not, you can take the flattened brush over it, or the raised brush to really kindly finely tune that in. But overall, like, the bunkers feel very natural and they feel like they belong here. So I think you did a really good job with that. And then I love that pop bunker there to the short right. I think it looks great down there. I love that the land movement is just, everything's taking us from left to right. It feels very natural. I think this is a really good look off the first tee, to be honest. Okay. Oh, and we're hiding another bunker back there. Okay, so the 2 bunkers, I think they're great. I would definitely keep them. I'd say you could maybe put them a little bit closer together. And then I don't know if I'd leave this planting here. I think bringing it up like just to the bottom of the bunkers is good. But I wouldn't hide this second bunker behind the planting because it feels like it opens up. You know, if I'm back here and even back from the tee, it felt like, you know, there was this bunker here and then it kind of opened up and there was either more of this planting or something else going on behind there, but it didn't feel like there was another bunker back there. So I would maybe open that up a little bit. And then we do have a little bit, everything's running left to right, so I, you know, keep that general movement of the green. I just feel like flattening this out a little bit so it's not just right into the bunker. Again, it's links golf. I think anybody could make an argument with me here that oh well, that's that's just links golf. But I think playability wise, this could be smoothed out a little bit, and then this makes sense because we have fairway here, right? And as long as this stops in the fairway, I think that runoff there makes a lot of sense. Green slopes here make a lot of sense moving from left to right. It might be a touch much. I don't know if we, like, if I'm looking at this, I feel like there's nowhere to pin the green up front here. I feel like we only have like this spot here and maybe this spot here. I think flattening out the back right here, you could maybe get a pin into there and just let it kind of all gently move left to right. And then I feel like this could be smoothed out just a touch up here so we could fit maybe 2 more pins up there. The other thing you could do is, if this is, actually, let's see what the green speeds are, because the other thing you could do is slow down the greens if we're at 168. So I think this is a good green speed. I think that we just need to flatten them out a little bit in those areas where the pins are. That was a really good look down the coast there. I was trying not to just cough in your guys' ear while that was there, but that was a really good look down the coast that we had there just a second ago. I think the beach work, I think it could be flattened out a little bit, but overall I think it looks really nice. And then also looking at the planting a little bit, if I fly around just a touch, we have a lot of kind of the default planting coming in here, which isn't bad. Highlands doesn't have terrible default planting. I would just like to see a little bit more of the grasses kind of planted out front so we can layer it a little bit better. What was the theme for this contest? Yeah, Patrick, it was it was just plot design. So we were focused on kind of creating an interesting plot and with some features that the course can kind of route in and out of in interesting ways. So that was what we were kind of focused on here for the first one, just getting a plot challenge done. But yeah, looking at this planting here, I think that these grasses are nice. I think this might still be some of the default grasses, but just kind of incorporating that into these areas as well, doing a little bit more custom planting, I think would look really nice, and it would just kind of help bring this down into the view a little bit more, and make everything feel a little bit more natural and less just kind of auto-genned. Ooh, there's a lot going on with that green. Okay, we'll get to that in a second. The pots actually look nice. I don't mind them. I think some people would have an issue with the pots, but I mean the way they sit out there, they look nice. Taking on pots early on, I think is challenging. So we can see that one nicely out there. Okay, so we have. So to me, it feels like the left here is the preferred angle. We're not really getting a ton of preferred angle. If I'm being honest, though, I don't see why I would ever play out here to the right with this bunker being here. The bunker being here, I feel like I can't play towards the bunker, and I feel like I can't play all the way up to almost where my cursor's sitting now, because it feels like everything's going to push it to the left, right, into that bunker. So it feels like this is the only area I can really get to. And if I'm up here, I have to carry these bunkers out here. And then I'm also bringing this bunker into play. So to me, it feels like this is the much safer option here. This might be kicking us down into heavy rough there, which I'd argue is maybe not ideal. You could probably bring the fairway up just a little bit more on the left there, but if this is the more challenging shot, then I don't mind protecting this with a little bit of camber. It's just now we don't have another option other than just laying up. So if this were me, I would honestly take this bunker here and I would move it to right there, just like 10 yards to the left. And then I would fill in this a little bit over here with rough, because then we can kind of use this to get an even better angle, especially to these right pins. And then this opens up this whole area up here, especially if we smooth it out just a little bit to kind of miss to the right. Like this could be our preferred angle off the tee, but it gives us, you know, a less of an angle into the green. So just a thought there. Obviously, I'm no tempo. I can kind of challenge the bunkers. I can challenge the bunker here. So yeah, again, if that bunker was right there, that really forces me into here and having to kind of skirt this bunker here, which I think makes for an interesting shot. Again, the pots look nice. I'd say it might be a little excessive, but I mean, I like them. I'm not. I think they look fine. Thank you for doing the rough around them. I think that looks really nice, and that's a really nice touch. I mentioned before that you can also do light rough around the bunkers as well, and it helps them play a little bit better because the balls will roll into them a little bit nicer. So you could always try that out too if you want to, you know, keep working on the course. But the heavy rough, it looks nice. It very clearly marks kind of where the bunkers are, especially when I'm looking here. Like, that's a bunker. Don't go there. I can very clear. Oh, it is light rough. Okay, awesome. That's perfect. Let's see. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, it just looks. They're very similar in texture, so that's awesome then. Yeah, the green. I like all the slopes that are happening on the green. I just think all of it's too severe. Especially for everything that's just kind of like kicking you out on the sides. This is kind of a medium length par 4. You know, I can't even really see where the pins are, which would normally be a good thing, but I don't know that there's really any places that you could safely pin this green. So I would argue that the slopes are just a little bit severe. This would look probably really good on really low green speeds, but I just don't think really low green speeds play that well. So I would argue that it's just a little bit much. I think the green shape is fine. The only thing I'd say is that, you know, we're coming in a little bit with the heavy rough getting really close. So just kind of smoothing the green shapes out a little bit, especially like, you know, right along here. If we're using splines, just let's get those smoothed out just a little bit. But overall, I think this is a nice look. I'm gonna do my best to get like right up against this pin, because like I can be anywhere short, right? But if I'm down here, I mean, that's a hell of a putt to get up there. And if I'm behind the hole, like let's say that there's a pin here, and I end up here. I don't know that if I putt back down, I don't know that this stays on the green at that point. Yeah, so this planting up here, we can see all the little stalks. It just feels like the bushes are kind of almost floating above the land on these little sticks. And I get that that's like the trunks of the bushes, but if we bring in grasses here, then it feels a little bit more layered. We have the grasses in front, and then we have the bushes kind of sitting up behind them. So that kind of helps it just feel a little bit more natural. It's a tough course. If I wasn't playing on tempo, these greens would be giving me fits so far. Okay. Did a lot of copy paste, went too dense, ran out of meter. That happens. That happens. Yeah, so spreading out the planting a little bit, breaking it up. Yeah, I was gonna say that's funny for 6 holes, because I was like, I don't know how you'd even plant 18. Yeah, breaking up that planting a little bit will help a lot with the meter. Just making sure you don't have stuff just sitting on top of each other. Because remember, we're playing from out here, not up here. So, you know, from out here, even just the little bits of planting, like this is really dense. You could achieve this same effect here with like 3 bushes, right? Or even 3 trees, and you just sink the trees into the ground. Or one tree in a bush. Like you can achieve that same kind of look. So yeah, if you ran out of meter, that's definitely a lot of planting you got to look at there and kind of see what you want to do. Oh, we have an aiming stick. Okay. We'll get to that in a second here. I feel... So is this supposed to be a template hole? I'll ask you. You're in chat there. Because I know what I think I know what template it is. This looks like a 11. Just looking at all the different approaches we kind of have for this. So this is a long hole. And this is what I'm looking at for. Okay, so ideas from it. What I'm looking at here is we have a massive carry over this creek, right? We have to carry 280 to get across this creek. And when you have a creek that's breaking up the landing area, especially when it's perpendicular to the direction of play like it is here, the only really option it's giving you is, do I want to hit driver or do I want to hit 3-wood? When 3-wood is arguably not even an option here. Into this wind, we're really challenging whether I'm going to hit driver. And because it's a 500-yard par 4, I'd argue that this is really punitive because now we're almost in the territory of it forcing me to lay up with a 3-wood. And if I'm laying up with a 3-wood on this, I'm hitting 3-wood and then maybe not even reaching the green at that point. So I think on a longer hole like this, the creek should probably not be as in play as much. If I was going to keep the creek, what I would do is I would just straighten out what you have here. So I would bring the creek in a little bit closer down on the left and then further out on the right. And what that's doing, that's the way 11 works, is that in order to get the better angle into this green, I have to carry more of the creek. If you bring it in closer on the left-hand side here, then you get a lot more fairway to work with, but a worse angle, right? Because now I have to hit it over the aiming stick out there. So if you bring in that creek just a little bit more on the left and open up that left-hand area, you're not taking driver out of people's hands if they have this hole into the wind or something like that, and you're still kind of affording the same kind of strategy that I think you were going for off the tee. And then I would honestly maybe even lose that pot bunker in the fairway out there. Although, you know, for 3-wood, it's challenging the preferred angle. As a par 5, I think this hole would make a lot of sense. I think as a par 4 though, 510 yards, I think that's just a bit too much. If I'm being honest, I think just giving us a little bit more room to work with on the left here would be beneficial. And also keep in mind, not everybody plays the 295 driver. If someone's got the 281 driver in their hands, you know, that's putting them right here. And that's just, it's not going to happen, especially in this wind. Now, with all that being said, I can just blast a driver over this. Also, keep in mind, too, like a red fast or a red slow would also probably be in the creek, which might be a bit punitive. Looking back at the aiming stick, I'd argue, too, that you probably don't need the aiming stick here. If you were going to put an aiming stick anywhere, I would put it behind the green, like right out on this post here. You could get the if you go into the retaining walls, so if you go under fences, retaining walls, there's the posts from the retaining walls. You can put just a big old flagpole out here with like the backside of a hole sign or a stop sign or something like that on it, on the like two stop signs sandwiched together where the stop signs are facing each other. And it would make a nice aiming post out here. So like even if you're on the right, like if I'm right here, I can't see the green, but there's an aiming post right here, so it looks like I have to hit over that way. Whereas if it's actually behind the green, it might be sticking up back here. It'd have to be very tall, but you can make it work. And even from here, like I can just barely see the flag stick, but if I'm like 10 feet to the left, I can't see the green. So having the aiming post be behind the green, I think work a lot. The green here is very, Like this looks like it's very receptive to a long shot, so I think he did a good job with the green. And also the green's favoring an angle from the right here, right? So the green's even doing more to further emphasize the fact that we want to be to the right on the tee shot. So again, just opening up that left-hand side of the tee shot, I think that's all this hole needs to be a really, really good hole. Like a really, really good hole. I actually really like this. And then the last thing is the green shape. Again, just smoothing these out a little bit. I think it'd make it look just visually a little bit more like it belongs. You know, it's a links course too. Links courses are they tend to be very simple shapes. They're not always that way, but they tend to be that way. Then, yeah, we're playing into the wind a little bit. Quite a bit. Downslope helping us. So I'm just going to pull a little bit off that 5-iron. Hopefully we can get close, get that to stop. I like that this, like, because everything's playing downhill too, towards the coast, which, by the way, good job making everything kind of break towards the water. That you know, that the green slopes here make a lot of sense. There's a lot of green slopes here too that make you have to really think about how the ball's going to roll out. And I think that's really well done. And we missed the putt. Go. That's really close to being a really solid hole design. Overall, I like that hole. Playing no tempo, I like that hole. If I was playing with tempo, I'd probably be peeved. Okay, this is cool. We'll talk about the green shape in a second, but the pop bunkers, the way they sit here, and then you have the cliff, like as like the last piece of it. That looks really cool. I think that's really well done. You can't see it all that well, so maybe if we could see it a little better, but that's really cool. I would say let's pull the green back just a little bit so we don't have kind of these waves going on up here. Just bring it a little more smoothed out, and then we also have this runoff here. Let's just bring the green to like the top of that runoff, right? If we're short, we're still probably going to be in those pop bunkers. So we either need to kind of smooth this out a little bit, or not have it be as far down as it is the green here. So we can just like all this shape in the back here, I think makes a lot of sense. It's a really short hole. I will say that the slopes on here again are really, really severe. So I think we could tone down the slopes a little bit. Like if these were all amber or even yellow slopes, I think it would make the whole play just a little bit better. And this look off the tee is great. With, you know, the land's clearly moving from right to left down here towards the ocean. You got the nice drop off in the beach out here. And then we've done a good job with the planting in here. I'd say it's probably a little bit too dense, but it's, I mean, it looks good. You're just not going to be able to do it for very long. Yeah, that's a tough pin there. Because and the reason why is like if I'm anywhere behind this pin and I miss my putt, I feel like this is just off the front of the green here into one of these bunkers. So just kind of toning down the green slopes a little bit. That way anything that's downhill isn't quite so severe and punishing. So here's a good example. Like this, all this is just, it's a straight putt. I can probably make the putt, but this is really running away from me quick. What are we at? So it's 13 feet. Breaking a touch right at my feet. I'm not going to worm cam this or anything, but oh, I pulled it right. Oh, wow, that really went left on me. Yeah, so I barely tapped that and was able to keep it just past the hole there. But if I didn't have my putt meter on, you know, let's say this is a TGC Tours round. If I didn't have my putt meter on there, that's a really, really touchy putt. I would just be tapping that to get it like somewhere down near the hole and not trying to play for birdie, which I think is just, I think that's just a touch on the punitive side. Okay. R5. Now we're really trying to see, okay, can you carry the creek? Now we're on a par 5. The par 5 is 570. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not a huge fan of having a layup on a par 5. I think that this is the same, very similar to the tee shot we already saw. It's just flipped now, right? I think that this could benefit from the same thing as the other one, where the creek could probably be running at more of a diagonal, so we could have like a preferred angle. I mean, it's a par 5. We don't even really need a preferred angle, but have it so we can play, you know, to this right-hand side a little bit easier. Have the left-hand side not be quite as punitive, but don't force 3-wood into it. Like, we can play 3-wood out to here. Well, I like that green. We'll get to that in a second. But I'd argue that even, like, you probably don't even need the creek at all on this hole, right? We're affording a lot of width here. I would almost let length be kind of the defense here, because this green is tough already, right? The clear angle here too, by the way, is from the left, right? The further left we are, the better look we have into this. So, you know, one of two things: we either make the creek just run at a little bit more of an angle, or even get rid of the creek and use maybe some pots to kind of encourage people to play to the right-hand side and challenge the left-hand side a little bit more. Just because, again, it's a par 5. I mean, this is 20 feet downhill. If we're changing this, I don't think it needs to be by much. I think this one's even closer to being really good than the other one. I just feel like we saw this tee shot already with the creek, so maybe let's use pot bunkers or something to do the same kind of thing. And when I say that, I mean, like, let's, you know, if we look at this without the creek, we can. Yeah, I agree, Jack. It's just we already did the diagonal creek. We did it 2 holes ago. That's the only reason I'm arguing against doing the diagonal creek. So we could leave this open to fairway over here, right? Because you're probably not making that green too from the right hand side, and then we could maybe pot up the left hand side just a little bit, or have some sort of bunker that comes in, or the beach comes in over here on the left, or something to kind of challenge that left hand side, to force the golfer over here to the right. And again, I'm playing no tempo. I can just blast this over. Also, be mindful of your planting just encroaching onto the playing surfaces, especially when it's in the landing area. CG. How you doing, Chris? So I'm going to play to that angle because I want to kind of emphasize, like, that's okay. It happens. I wanted to kind of emphasize, like, how good this green site really is. I think there's a couple things that could be fleshed out a little bit more. Again, I think the green slopes are really, really aggressive here. You have this is our last course for the day. But yeah, the green slopes, again, I just think they're a little bit aggressive. And then we've got one that's like dumping us into the bunker here. Which I don't hate it in this case. It's going into, you know, the fairway and then kind of coming into the bunker. But with everything that's going on here, I feel like there's nowhere for me to really hit this where it's not going to end up in this bunker. Even if I'm playing from the left, like it still feels like it's gonna kick me all the way over there, but it might not. I'd assume you would have play tested this, so you probably have a better idea of how it plays. But yeah, I think just kind of smoothing out these green slopes just a little bit, and then maybe even bringing the green down just a touch. It does feel like it's a little bit, like it's sitting up a little bit high. You know, you could have it sit down maybe a couple feet and then have this kind of feed down from right to left. Yeah, it definitely plays better from the left. Yeah, I would assume so. That's that, and I think that makes sense. That's the way it should play on a hole like this. I don't really have a club, so I mean I can probably get close with this, which we're gonna try to do. Maybe not with that slope. The slopes will all sit that little bit better with a few of these greens being brought down maybe 6 to 10 inches. Yeah, and this one I would say maybe even brought down a foot or two. You know, just so it's a little bit more receptive. And again, it just feels like it's sitting up really high, especially with like the bunker and everything down there. I mean, like you want that bunker to be punishing. I get that. So, you know, playing with that a little bit. Let's see. See if 9-iron stops. Yep. I think that's a well-designed hole, though. Again, I think that's. I think that's really close to being a really good hole. 6. So we got a blind tee shot in the hills here. And I'd argue that it was intentionally blind. This is good. I like this a lot, actually. So, a couple things talking about. I wouldn't suggest playing 187s. I wouldn't suggest that either. I think default green speeds might be a bit much. Especially if I'm playing on like TGC Tour settings or something along those lines. So a couple things I really like about this. I like blind tee shots. I like when blind tee shots give us space to play to. And I think you've done a good job with that here. I do feel like we don't have really much going on here. It almost felt like an unfinished hole when I got to the tee, right? Because this land in front of us is like right up in front of our face. It almost feels like this land could come down and this land back here is what could come up. And then maybe you could have an aiming stick or something. And then you could use some planting in here to make it visually look interesting. But what we're looking at right now, there's not a whole lot visually going on here. So I think we could do more to make that interesting. You clearly want to play to the right-hand side so we don't have to play to those bunkers. And because of the way the green slopes, it makes a lot of sense. So the camber here from right to left, that makes a lot of sense. So I think that's well done. I'm going to definitely hit up the right-hand side here. And this is really good. Now, this green is really small for having, you know, the approach is really short. The green isn't small. The approach is short for having all this runoff and fairway around it. But it feels very linksy and it works really well. I think that this hole could probably be a touch longer. But again, it makes sense in this context. I like the pot bunkers, bottom left here. I again do feel like the green's a little bit close to them. I feel like it could come back just a touch so we could smooth out the shape a little bit. But as a whole, I think that this green is the most fair. I'd say it seems a lot more toned back from the other ones. It's probably still a touch on the punitive side, but like again, if I miss to the left here, I don't know that I can get a putt to go down there without it rolling off the green. But it's really close. I think this is the best green so far on the course. So again, like we've been doing with all the other ones, how would I route this for 18 holes? You know, I would obviously take advantage of all this land out here. I think that this is obviously, you've got some really good land out here for some more golf holes. And then I would also incorporate the creeks more, or not more. I would incorporate the creeks going forward. I would just try to incorporate them in different ways. Don't always just have them bisecting the fairway. You could have them running alongside of it. You could have them running kind of in and around like a green and a par 5 or something along those lines, a drivable 4 where the creek really encroaches on the green. So there's a lot of ways that you can kind of incorporate the creeks in different ways. You know, like if you have a green site sitting in here, you could have a par 3 going to it. You could have a par 5 that plays up and across or whatever. So there's a lot of different ways that you can kind of incorporate the creek. And then yeah, definitely all this coastland, because there's a lot of good links land out here to really make some stunning golf holes, right? But overall, I think you did a great job. And again, for someone who doesn't do a whole lot with the designer, I think that that's a really solid one. And Bob, yeah, I saw Bob mentioning there that making sure the greens are playable at 187. They don't always have to be playable at 187s, but it's nice when they are, because people don't always know what your course is supposed to play like. So a lot of people just go into or they go to set up a match and they just want to play on the toughest greens, so they make the greens 187s. And if they aren't playable at all, then it can be kind of a pain in the butt. So yeah, having them playable at 187 is not a bad idea. I wouldn't say it's required, but I think that's good advice. Yeah, and no problem. Thanks again for submitting your course to Design League. That wraps it up for everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed this. This is the end of day 2. We had 13 submissions. Yeah, I played 6 today, 7 yesterday. So yeah, we had 13 courses. I think you guys all did a great job. I hope you guys got some valuable feedback. Yeah, no problem. And then Design League 3.2, for those of you guys who don't know, it's up on the forum now. So you guys can go check out what the prompt is for 3.2, and then you guys can feel free to participate in that as well. If you want to turn this into 18 holes, you can always do that as well, but it's not a requirement or anything like that. So yeah, thanks to everybody who tuned in. Thanks to everybody who participated. And I guess I'll see you guys for some streams between now and then. But if I don't, I'll catch you for Design League 3.2. Thanks again.